Fortunes can change very quickly in the NLL. A season ago, the Rock suffered through a disastrous season as time seemed to catch up with the veteran team. But just 1 year later, the Rock have infused a ton of youth into their lineup, and along with it, wins. Meantime, the Roughnecks are looking to start a new winning streak after the Rush ended theirs last Saturday. It's the Rock and Roughnecks on NLLTV.com. Good afternoon, my name is Grant Farhall, coming to you live from Scotiabank Saddledome with Ryan Ballantyne. And Ryan, a rare matinee tilt here in Calgary, a Sunday afternoon game. We don't get a lot of those. Expecting to see a lot of families, a lot of kids in the crowd here tonight. Yeah, family day here at the Rough House, and hopefully we get to see a lot of them filtering in throughout the course of the next little while. We've got a lot of afternoon gatherers and a lot of family stuff happening out there on the concourse. So they're getting now into their seats and getting ready to watch what should be a very entertaining game between the Toronto Rock and the Calgary Roughnecks. The Roughnecks, of course, coming off that loss last week to the Saskatchewan Rush. Yeah, absolutely. And when we look at the Toronto Rock, this is not the typical Rock team that we're used to. They have had a lot of changes in the offseason. We are used to seeing the likes of Josh Sanderson out there, Colin Doyle, a team that had a lot of veteran weapons up front, and really a lot of people think that got to the best of them a season ago, as all of a sudden time caught up with them. So in the offseason, they've infused a ton of rookies, and really one of the interesting strategies in the NLL during the offseason, they went out and they signed a trio of American college field lacrosse players, and in doing so have really been able to inject a lot of talent into the lineup. And in particular, Tom Schreiber absolutely not missing a beat at all. He has been able to make the adjustment from the field game to the box game, and just as a proof point of that, put up a 10 spot a week ago, leads the Rock in scoring. This will be our first chance to see this young man up close in person, but looking forward to seeing what Tom Schreiber can do out there this afternoon. Yeah, 23 points on the season, including 17 assists, and as you mentioned, that 10-point game last week, again, making that transition from the veterans of the past to the future for the Toronto Rock. 3-1 on the season so far, and a lot of that success lies on the shoulders of goaltender Nick Rose. Yeah, Nick Rose had a brief stint here in Calgary, then went to Toronto and really reestablished himself as the #1 man. If you're in the Toronto area, Nick Rose bobblehead night is coming up next week, and when the Rock return home, that's Friday, February 17th, 7:30 p.m. Tickets at torontorock.com, and get yourself a Nick Rose bobblehead. Do you collect bobbleheads, Ryan? I do have a couple from my travels, a couple bobbleheads through here and there from some Calgary sports teams, but no Roughnecks bobbleheads yet. I don't know that the Roughnecks have done a bobblehead. I think they did a Curtis Dixon bobblehead. For some reason that sticks out, but I might be wrong on that. But nonetheless, yeah, Nick Rose bobblehead. Now, he's really stepped up. In fact, right now across the NLL, owns the best goals against average and save percentage when it comes to starting goalies. So really, when it comes to the Toronto Rock, the early part of the season was a story of them having some problems scoring, having scored the fewest goals in the league, but also giving up the fewest. But last weekend, they seemed to erase the problems when it came to the offense, as they put up a ton, including 10 points from the aforementioned Tom Schreiber. Now, for the Calgary Roughnecks, a week ago, they had the Rush in town here and really hung with the Rush for the first 3 quarters until what we've seen from Saskatchewan in the last couple of weeks in the midst of their winning streak now at 4 games is just their ability to turn on the gas, and they did hit that pedal to the floor in the 4th quarter and really outclassed the Roughnecks. But overall, Calgary 3-2 on the season, a solid start, but they want to get back in the win column tonight to get back that momentum. Yeah, when you look at this season versus the last few here in Calgary, you've got to be really quite enthused with a 3-2 start, including the one loss to open the season in Vancouver, where they were without starting netminder Frank Chiliano. But since Chiliano's come in, he's beat everybody but Saskatchewan. He's going to have a tough test here from the Toronto Rock. But the Calgary Roughnecks look like they might be the team they thought they were going to be last year. They lost a lot of 1-goal games last year and found themselves on the wrong end of quite a few late gaffes, and this year they don't seem to be suffering from that, leading to this 3-2 start to the season, substantially better than the 0-5 they put up the last 2 years. I guess the puzzling thing, though, is that when you look at their record, just 1-2 on home floor, and that's been part of the problem the last couple of seasons, inability to really develop a consistent game on the home floor. They go on the road, and often they look better on the road than they do here at the Rough House. Not sure what that is, if that's them just trying to entertain the fans or what, but they certainly want to just get back to playing some solid lacrosse here against what will be a tough Rock team, as the Rock hit the floor here, led by Nick Rose, to a smattering of boos. I think that's a smattering, not a chorus.
Yes, I think by definition you are correct. As you see the starting lineup there for the Rock, a very heavy defensive lineup. Looks like Bob Snyder is going to draw into the lineup for the Roughnecks today. That may be a part of why this defensive mindset for the Rock to start the game, as you look at Bob Snyder, one of the best face-off men in the history of the National Lacrosse League. Looks like we're going to head down to the floor now. Annie Pattison bringing us the national anthem.
Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all our sons command. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true North, strong and free. From far and wide, oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God, keep our land glorious and free. Oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
All right, once again, it's the Rock and the Calgary Roughnecks here from Scotiabank Saddledome on a Sunday afternoon here in Calgary. Starting goaltenders, as I mentioned, Nick Rose having a sharp start to his season, 3-1 on the year, 8.75 goals against average, save percentage just under 80%. Both of those stats tops across the NLL. Frank Chiliano has been very good as well, 3-1, 11.38 goals against average, save percentage just under 75%. Despite that loss a week ago against Saskatchewan, actually made a season-high number of saves in that contest, as the Rush really peppered him in the second half. Your face-off battle tonight will be Tyler Burton, 60 out of 115, so just over 50%, actually winning more draws than he typically does for his career average. Might see some Bob Snyder out there as well, but I think we'll get a bit of both when it comes to the face-off battle. On the other side, one of the best this season so far across the entire NLL will be taking the face-offs. That's Bradley Cree, 62 out of 87, which I think is about 70%, if not more. That's hard math, but something like that anyways. So it should be a good battle on the dot and a fairly even battle as well, as we get this one set to kick off. First of two games between the Rock and the Roughnecks, as they typically do every season, and a good rivalry despite the fact they don't see a lot of each other, that East-West battle. These are two organizations that have quite the history dating back to some of the original big trades made by the Calgary Roughnecks to bring in Caleb Toth. Was acquired from the Toronto Rock. Of course, Toth scored one of the most historic goals in the NLL as a member of that Rock team. Some consider that to be the biggest goal, in fact, in the NLL history. So a lot of history, a good rivalry, and this one is now underway. And it looks like Burton's on the draw and has won the opening draw. Will give his team first possession of the game, gives it to Bell. Bell now spins away from a check. Now one hand on the stick, is going to flip back to Dan McRae over there to support him. And now Dixon. Curtis Dixon took the summer off lacrosse just to get healthy, and so far has looked good in every game, very dangerous, and leading the Roughnecks in almost every offensive category. Now this is the sophomore Westberg, goes behind the net. Coming out the other side is Dane Doby with 4 to shoot. He loses the ball, and now it'll be the Rock with a chance to turn it over. Latrell Harris couldn't pick it up cleanly. Now he does get it back at center. And now we'll pass off as the Rock will get their first offensive possession. And that's Brett Hickey. Hickey has a man down in the corner, and they'll work it out of there. That's Lintner. He tries to bounce it across the other side. However, Stefan LeBlanc unable to handle it cleanly, gets it back. Now a bit of a move, now to the net, tries a shot up high. And that goes over the crossbar, so the shot clock now down to just 3, so they'll deposit it near the corner, and the Roughnecks will take over from there. Manning passes off to Berg, who now steps over center. Berg has a man down in the corner. That's rookie Holden Katoni. Katoni now, one-on-one battle. He's going to pass off to Curtis Dixon. Dixon over the restraining line, now takes a look towards net, fakes the shot, gets a pick. Pick doesn't work from Berg, so now Dixon facing the double team. Dixon still with it with 9 to shoot, hanging on, looking for an option. Tough angle shot, no problem there for Nick Rose as he gets his first save of the afternoon. And now a long pass ahead, doesn't work, as stepping in front of that nicely is Dan McRae. Can't handle it though. Now the Rock have a 2-on-1 down low. Pass across, interrupted, rebound is there, shot save, Chiliano, as he stops Tom Schreiber point blank. Best chance we've seen so far early in this one. Score remains 0-0. Dan McRae in transition, passes off, and now here's Shatler with it. Shatler will just hold for a moment. And now he'll start to get towards the net. Shatler now looking at his options, passes off to Katoni. Katoni into the hands of the big man, Digby. Digby now back over to the other side to Shatler, tried to take an off-speed shot on net, bounce it from the far corner. That didn't work. Katoni comes over and at 0 on the shot clock just puts it down to the corner. And so far the defense is standing tall in this one, Ryan.
Yeah, not a surprise here. Of course, Bruce Codd, former Roughnecks defensive coach, now coaching for the Rock. So I'm sure he'll have his players well prepared for this Roughnecks offensive set.
And now the Rock working across the other side, and post to post comes Frank Chiliano. I don't think that Lintner got all that he wanted to on that shot, but nonetheless, Frank had to be sharp on that one. Harnett now in transition. His brother Greg Harnett now serving that 5-game suspension as he appealed that, and this week the league upholding the suspension, so he'll be gone for a while when it comes to being able to get into the Roughnecks lineup, and that's why we see Bob Snyder in this one this afternoon. Now Magnuson out near center, receives the pass, now he's going to go to the bench. And this is LeBlanc with it. Stefan LeBlanc passes down to the corner to Kieran McCardle. McCardle now over to the other side. This is Schreiber to the net, cutting across and try to come across his body back to that near post and just put it wide. And now here come the Roughnecks in transition, but I think we're going to get a Calgary penalty here, and the Rock will go to the power play. Tangled up down in the corner area was Dan McRae and Casey Bierns. And actually, it's neither of those guys getting the penalty. It looks like it's the captain, Mike Carnegie.
Yeah, Mike Carnegie was in very briefly in that scrum. So 2 minutes for an illegal cross-check for Mike Carnegie. Looks like we'll see it right here as you, well, that's pretty clear.
Yep.
I think that was right across the chops of Bierns, and Toronto finds themselves on the power play.
Power play has struggled this season, just 32% effectiveness. Calgary's penalty kill 60%, but we'll see if the Rock can get it going here. They work it to the top to Schreiber. Schreiber passes off, gets it back again. Now they'll go to the other side. Schreiber loads, fires, scores. Tom Schreiber on the power play. 1-0 Toronto.
Well, Schreiber picking up right where he left off a week ago when he had a 10-point game, just inching closer and closer, going to the stick side of Frank Chiliano down low, and puts that one in to make it a 1-0 game on the Rock's second shot.
So Calgary will look to answer here, and so far it is Burton taking the draws against Bradley Cree. They tangle up, and Burton flips it back between his legs, and Harnett does a nice job of gathering that one in. Now he starts forward, bounce pass across. Bell can't handle it. Pass was a little ahead of him, and that gives Toronto a chance to turn it over. And up near center is Harris. He takes the long pass, has numbers with him. Harris steps into the zone, tries a shot, and that's well wide of the net and over near the Calgary bench. Nice job there as Kieran McCardle climbed the ladder to gather that in and give his team possession. Still 15 to shoot, so plenty of time to work with here for Toronto as they lead this one 1-0, 10:53 to go here in the first quarter. This is Hickey now. Hickey loads, fires right into the chest of Frank Chiliano, no problem, including controlling the rebound. Now passing it way ahead, has his man out near center. That's Garrett McIntosh. McIntosh hands it off to Shatler off the bench. Shatler has Doby on the left side with him as usual, but Doby's going to go back across the other side to Wes Burke. Burke now leans on the defender, steps out, pass across, and they swing it back over to the other side. This is Digby. Digby's pass into traffic. Didn't quite work. However, Calgary still has it with just 3 to shoot. Chandler's just going to throw it in the corner, and we can see that strong Toronto Rock defense on display here.
Yeah, absolutely. They've kept everything to the outside, which is nothing but success here with Nick Rose as your goaltender, allowing less than 9 goals a game so far. If he can see the shot coming, he's going to stop it.
Calgary gets possession back here on, I believe it was an illegal pick. And ahead of the play is Dan McRae. McRae looks at the net but sees 4 members of the Rock between him and Nick Rose, so peels off and gives to Holden Katoni. Katoni, long rainbow pass onto the stick of Tyler Digby. Digby now pass to Doby with 15 to shoot. Doby now hangs, fires. Nice save by Nick Rose as he got his elbow on that one. Into the corner, Dixon resets the 30. Dixon now with it, looking for a bit of space. Berg has space, gets the pass, fakes the shot, cuts around the defender, takes a stick, and almost bounces it in there. Looking towards the official, no call coming up as it looks like Berg got a taste of some sticks there, but a nice chance there for the sophomore.
Yeah, it looked like Westberg might have had a complaint with the way he was treated on the way to the net, but nevertheless, the officials say play on, and they do. Toronto now looking to double their lead.
1-0, they lead, 9:07 to go here in the first quarter. Schreiber, the goal scorer, passes off, then gets the return feed. Schreiber now to Hickey. He fires, and Frank Chiliano closes the wickets to keep that one out.
Yeah, Chiliano looking for the whistle and gets it.
1-0 your score. The Toronto Rock with the early lead. You're watching the National Lacrosse League on NLLTV.com.
Brought to you in part by Sports Interaction, Canada's home for worldwide sports betting. Bet responsibly at sportsinteraction.com. Disclaimer, only residents of Canada may open an account with Sports Interaction. The service is not available to users outside of Canada.
Nothing. The Toronto Rock leading the Calgary Roughnecks at the Scotiabank Saddledome, where the fans here on their feet to salute Dane Doby, career point 600 recently. So the crowd showing their appreciation for the longtime Roughneck. And I would say a surefire, both Hall of Famer, and I think we'll see his number up here sometime when it's all said and done. That's a long ways off. He still has plenty of game left.
Yeah, lots of time left before you name that, raise that name to the rafters, but I think it is just a matter of time before that happens.
Doby now passes off, ball is lost, and Calgary had pulled the goalie there to try and take advantage of a 6-on-5, so scrambling back there is Frank Chiliano. And now the pass ahead, and Hostrauser gets decked by Dan McRae, but somehow manages to come out of that with the ball, thrown to the knees of Mike Carnegie. So a bit of a broken play here is going to leave the Rock with a short possession here, and then an absolute mugging on McCardle. And they're going to give possession to
Mike Carnegie's going to get, somebody's getting a penalty. Looks like a roughing penalty here.
Garrett McIntosh, it looks like, will be going off.
A 5-minute high sticking penalty.
We'll get the replay here. Somewhere in all that is where it happened. And as a result now, it'll be a long power play here for the Rock, who are 1 for 1 on the power play already. That's how they have that 1-0 lead. The goal scorer Schreiber out there again. This is Hickey, though. He tries a shot, saves Giuliano. Rebound is there. Carnegie can't scoop it up cleanly. Now finds it, trying to run away from some attention, and eventually bounces it up to Harnett. Does a nice job of releasing up the floor to Curtis Manning, and Calgary gets it out of the zone with 4:30 to go now on this 5-minute major. Pivotal moment early in this one here as the Rock can really build some insurance here if they can cash in a couple goals here. Right now, though, Calgary with possession and looking to make something happen shorthanded. There's the shot on goal. No problem there for Nick Rose off of Westberg. And now with 4:12 to go, the Rock will come down the floor and work the 5-on-4 once again. Used to seeing Josh Sanderson at the controls of any power play that the Rock are a part of. That obviously not the case now. Hickey now has it. Hickey plays it up high to Schreiber. That's where he scored from. Exact same look as what they were doing for that goal as he works his way in. Now they're going to give it a different look. Hickey comes over again to Schreiber up top. Behind his back to Hickey. Save made by Giuliano as he skipped aside to turn that one aside. Fresh 30 though for the Rock on the power play. Here's Schreiber again, loads, fires and misses the post, comes all the way back and down the floor off that end wall. And that's a break for the Roughnecks.
Yeah, over and back will be the call there as it managed to miss everything and everyone hitting the boards and going back to the far side. So now the Roughnecks will get possession, be able to hopefully for them kill 30 seconds here off this power play that has a little over 3.5 minutes remaining.
This is Dixon with it. Oh, pardon me, it's Doby with it. Doby now looking to throw it to someone, instead threw it towards the net. And now with 3:15 to go here, it is Toronto getting possession back. Jordan Mangeson starts to move it down the floor, passes off to Dan Lintner. Lintner passes off now up high to Schreiber. Schreiber to McArdle. McArdle playing that far side with LeBlanc. Now they'll bring it to Schreiber. Schreiber again up top in that same position where he scored from. Has the ball again. Now he'll come down low. Nice passing here, but not really much good opportunities. And there's good defense by the Roughnecks to collapse on the ball carrier there, turn it over. And now John Harnett scoops it up near center with 2:40 to go here on this power play.
The defense really standing tall for the Roughnecks on this on this penalty kill so far, keeping the Rock from generating much of an opportunity.
Breakaway opportunity here for Cree. He's in there, takes the shot and puts it wide of the net. And then a great diving stab by Dan McRae to grab that ball off the end wall. Otherwise, it might have been taken over there by the Rock. Bit of an odd breakaway as Cree didn't really have any speed. He turned around and pretty much had to put a shot on net right away. Otherwise, he would have stepped in the crease. Don't think that's the look he wanted to give it. 2:07 to go here. Pass to the crease area, booted out there by Nick Rose. And here come the Rock again. Now it's still 2 minutes to go here on this long 5-on-4 that they've yet to take advantage of, with Garrett McIntosh in the box for high sticking. Schreiber has it again. He's got Hickey to his left and will give him the ball. Hickey has a man down low, that's Casey Byrne, so they go back and forth. Just looking to move closer to the net. Now they'll change things up. Hickey now goes near the top area. He passes off to McArdle, now to Schreiber. Schreiber pass down low, save made by Giuliano off the shoulder. Rebound controlled by the Rock though, so the fresh 30 on the power play. There's McArdle trying a shot into the gut of the Roughneck defender though. That's Cummings getting in the way of that one. And now here comes Curtis Dixon with a head of steam. Dixon looking short-handed. Dixon trying to cut around his man. And I don't know what you call that, but we'll sort it out when we get back. 1-0, the Toronto Rock lead. You're watching the National Lacrosse League on NLL.
Got Digby on the take, scores!
Now back over to Dane Smith with a shot, hit the goal post inside, he scores!
Afraid you might miss out on the big stories from your favorite team? Well, not to fear, the NLL newsletter is here. All you have to do is subscribe to the new NLL newsletter, and you'll get weekly updates from everything that is happening around the league. What are you waiting for? Subscribe today.
Rock leading the Calgary Roughnecks, but not taking advantage of a 5-minute major penalty, as now they've taken a penalty of their own, as it is Stefan LeBlanc in the box. Did you get the call, Ryan?
Slashing call on LeBlanc on his way off the floor.
So now lots of floor space out there for 4-on-4 lacrosse. Shatler puts it into the hands of Westberg. Berg now with a step to the net, tried to pass it across to Digby on top of the crease. Gathered in by Shatler, still 13 to shoot. Shatler now back near the restraining line. Nice pass to Digby, he puts a shot on goal. Nick Rose, probably his best save of the contest so far. And now the ball is loose. Shatler does a good job of picking up that one and refreshing the 30-second clock for the Roughnecks. The Roughnecks now, Shatler. Shatler back to the defender, now spins off his man, puts a shot on net, and rather casually, Nick Rose just makes the stick save. And now a breakaway opportunity for Edwards, takes the shot, and Chiliano stops and might have hit the post as well.
Yeah, a nice stop there from Chiliano. That would have been a momentum killer after the Roughnecks have killed off the majority of this major penalty. Although the last minute being 4-on-4, looks like Chiliano gonna head to the bench for an extra attacker here and look for the Roughnecks to make it work on a man-up opportunity.
Yeah, McIntosh will sprint to the bench, and in doing so, that allows Chiliano to go back in there, and now the Roughnecks on that power play for 40 seconds. Oh, and what a save by Nick Rose going post to post, as he's been sharp early in this one.
Yeah, another nice save from Rose there. Rose, the best goaltender in the NLL by a 2-goal advantage when you're talking about goals against average. Nick Rose is keeping the door shut here again today.
Roughnecks get the possession back and now look to get on the board here. They have yet to score in this one, and now just 2:40 to go here in the first quarter. And just 5 seconds to go on that power play. There's Digby up alone in front, puts it over the net. And now Dixon comes over and says hi to the Rock bench and gathers the ball when he does. Now back to 5-on-5, Dixon scores! Curtis Dixon just decides to throw one on net, and it eludes Nick Rose. We're tied 1-1.
Just picks that top corner. Superman putting everything behind that one to tie this game at 1 on the power play just from way out. Just blows one past Nick Rose. I don't know that Rose might have been expecting the shot at that point in the possession. And Curtis Dixon maybe surprising the Rock goaltender there to make it a 1-1 game.
Here come the Rock looking to answer it away. Rogers shoots and puts it wide of the net. Rebound controlled briefly by the Roughnecks. Mike Carnegie eventually does pick it up and now looking to move it down the floor. Nearly chopped out of his stick and does eventually go into the Rock bench, and that'll be Toronto ball.
Yeah, nice play there from Harris. Just the up check on Carnegie to take the ball and fire it into the bench and get the Rock possession.
So now 1-1. We're all tied up. Schreiber has that Rock goal, passes off over to the other side. This is McCardle. McCardle has Schreiber again. Schreiber with a nice move. And good defense here by the Roughnecks. And then a double team and thrown to the ground there with Stefan LeBlanc, and the ball is turned over. Bob Snyder can't handle it though. And the Rock get it back, and all sorts of jawing over near the benches and confusion, and we'll sort things out here. I think it will be Calgary ball.
Well, the Roughnecks trying to campaign for over and back, and the Rock referee suggesting that Curtis Manning had enough of the ball.
There's a shot in on Rose off his shoulder and way up into the netting. And it will be a fresh 30 for the Roughnecks with now under 90 seconds to go in the quarter. Here's Dixon again. Dixon fakes the shot. Still has it. Now passes off to Digby. He puts a shot on net. I think just as he was releasing, someone got stick on his stick as it went well wide. And now another breakaway opportunity. Oh, Merrill couldn't gather it in. Otherwise, he was going to be home free, as the Rock have tried several times to take advantage of the defense not getting back. And now Dan McRae has it for the Roughnecks, and we're down to 52 seconds to go in the quarter. 1-1 tie game. McRae now double teamed into the corner and pinned to the ground. Ball is loose. Dobie comes over, can't handle it, and the Rock get it back. This is Jesse Gamble in transition. Gamble has a man, Turner Evans, ahead of him, but instead comes to the man off the bench. That's Hickey. Hickey now greeted by the defense, so he'll pass off. Now here's an opportunity. Shot, save Chiliano. He doesn't know where it is. And coming over is Tyler Burton to save that.
Yeah, nice alert play from Burton as that one rolled just off of Chiliano wide. Stayed in the crease, though. No Rock player around to collect that rebound. And keeps the game at 1.
Chiliano to the bench with under 10 seconds to go. Calgary will hold for last shot here. Dobie has it. Dobie, Dixon wants it. Dixon down low to Westberg. Pass across to Shatler. Shatler on top of the crease. Well after the clock expired. Nice pass, a nice finish, but it will not count. And we will head to the second quarter tied 1-1.
Yeah, about 1 second slow there for Dane Dobie to put it in the yawning cage, but nice ball movement there from the Roughnecks. That one might work later.
And we'll see if Andrew McBride is able to gather a member of the Calgary Roughnecks briefly, as he's looking for someone.
The former captain.
Looks like he's going to talk to Curtis Dixon. So we'll send it down to the floor.
Roughnecks fans, I'm here with Curtis Superman Dixon. Curtis, 7 minutes of penalties in the first half or in the first quarter. How do you continue as an offense to stay engaged in the game?
It's tough being shorthanded for, obviously half the quarter there, but we just got to keep our feet moving, try and get as many shifts out there as can. We've got to stay out of the box. They weren't bad penalties, they're hard-working penalties, but this is a team you can't take penalties against, so we got to get our discipline up.
Last week, the Rush really transitioned the ball. Toronto's looking to up-tempo the game, really trying to push the floor. As an offense, how do you be accountable to that?
We got to get off the floor, or you got to get back. I think we gave them a couple too many chances there. They're going to, they can't give them those chances. Their defense is playing great 5-on-5 and even man down, so we got to leave it up to them to decide this game. We can't let them get the transition shots.
Curtis Dixon.
Thanks, Andrew. 1-1 the score after the first quarter. You're watching the National Lacrosse League on NLLTV.com.
Pro lacrosse teams are now fielded in Philadelphia, Boston, New York, Maryland, Montreal, and Quebec.
Yesterday there was friendly competition and not so friendly competition. We knew our true colors weren't just worn on our backs, they were painted on our faces and hoisted as high in the air as we could possibly carry them. Whatever it took to claim our turf. Yesterday, we left it all out there. Blood, sweat, tears. You name it, we left it. We kept ourselves focused and we kept each other in check. And the only thing we took were epic shots. Yesterday, we saw more twists and turns in 8 seconds than most people saw in an entire season. We lost the ball, lost our minds. We lost countless times in every game. If you could see the ball, that was a slow day. Yesterday, physics didn't apply to us. Gravity wasn't welcome in our box. Armed with just a stick and a ball, we took flight. Yesterday, we were the best we could be. Today is our day.
Rock and the Calgary Roughnecks all tied up after the first quarter. Shots on goal in that first quarter, 10-9, so almost dead even. And pretty even game so far, Ryan. And really at this point, both offenses have really yet to gel. And for the Calgary Roughnecks, we heard Curtis Dixon talk about it with Andrew McBride. Tough to get that chemistry going when you're in the box for that much of a quarter.
Yeah, the 7 minutes in penalties for the Roughnecks in that first quarter. And you can look for them to try and stay a little cleaner here for the rest of the game.
Good look for Burton there, but he puts it high and wide over the net. So Calgary will change things up here and get the offense on the floor with 17 seconds on the shot clock. Dane Dobie just holding over near his bench. Now has Curtis Dixon. Dixon plays it to Jeff Shattler. Shattler now back towards the line, has Berg on the other side. Berg now with a bit of a path. Berg turned aside, now takes the shot. Nick Rose elbows that aside. And now Jesse Gamble will try and move it down the floor. Kicks it ahead as Jeff Shattler got on top of him in a hurry. Jeff Shattler, one thing he has never stopped doing, even as he's transitioned into an offensive player, is that hard back check. This is Dixon now. Dixon now plays it up high to Shattler. Shattler now over on the other side. This is Dane Dobie with 14 to shoot. Dobie now curls off the defender, gets help with a pick. And now here comes the shot. That's high. Part of the problem here for both offenses is too many wide shots. And now here's Brody Merrill with a breakaway. Merrill's in, shoots and skips it wide of the net. Actually, it looks like Chiliano got a piece of that.
Yeah, they do reset the shot clock rather. So Chiliano must have got a toe on that as it bounced towards the net.
Schreiber now holds, gives it to McCardle as they go back and forth. And now they'll get it to Turner Evans, and Evans passes off. Here's an opportunity. Ooh, hits John Harnett up high. Looks like he's okay, and here come the Calgary Roughnecks with numbers. Here's Bob Snyder. Oh, try to find Dane Dobie. Tough take for him, though, so Dobie's now in a battle behind the net in the corner, trying to skip it to himself. And it looks like Calgary is going to get it, as coming over to take it away with Scott Carnegie. And now Jeff Shattler looks up at the shot clock and sees 8 seconds remaining, so Calgary's going to have to do something quickly onto this possession. Here's Wiley Lowen. He's turned aside, and then an ill-advised pass through the crease area, no one near it. And Shattler's going to take, I thought he was going to take a penalty there, but I think he got away with it.
Yeah, there was a little bit from both players there, and so the referee deciding to let that one go.
So Toronto back to the attack here on offense. This is LeBlanc. LeBlanc pass is picked off nicely by Dan McRae, and McRae's off to the races, has a 2-on-1 developing. McRae holds, McRae spins off the man, and now is going to just skip it back. Tough take there for Mike Carnegie. Looks like he almost dislocated himself trying to get that pass. So he'll go to the bench, and Calgary gets the offense on the floor with 13 to shoot. Here's Berg now. Berg to Dobie. Dobie fakes the shot, spins, puts the shot on net, and Nick Rose again calmly turns it aside. Now here's Dixon. Dixon pass over to the side, and Dane Dobie had the wide open net and didn't have the ball.
Yeah, nice pass there from Dixon, but Dixon shoots so frequently, I don't know that Dane Dobie was expecting the pass.
Rock get a good look there, and Frank Chiliano makes the save. Rock recover the ball now with 25 on the shot clock, and here's LeBlanc again with it. LeBlanc passes to McCardle. McCardle now goes over to the other side. Here comes the shot, deflected, bounces way up in the air and over near the Rock bench, and that should be Roughneck possession.
I think it went off a Roughnecks player, so the Rock are going to retain the ball.
Yep, you're right. And it will be Tom Schreiber starting things off to LeBlanc. LeBlanc back to Schreiber. Schreiber now with a bit of room, cutting across the net and scores. Oh, Tom Schreiber puts a move on the defender, and Frank Chiliano loses everything there. Nearly got across, but 2-1 on a gorgeous goal.
Yeah, nice goal here. You can see Chiliano just trying to dive across and get there. But I mean, you've seen that so many times from Curtis Dixon here in this building. Schreiber making a case of his own for a superhero nickname.
Well, the name that's been thrown around is Captain America, but the problem is Captain America doesn't fly like that.
No.
I don't know what a Captain America type lacrosse goal would look like.
Well, Captain America's more of a shield guy, so
right.
You'd expect him to be on defense.
Here's Bell skipping through the crease, manages to stay out. Gives it to Shattler. Shattler to Mike Carnegie, who just wants to get to the bench. So he'll roll it to Dane Dobie, and now back to Shattler. So 2-1, Toronto now back on top, thanks to 2 from Tom Schreiber, who continues just an amazing start. Now here's an opportunity as Lowen couldn't bring the ball with him across the crease. And the Rock come back the other way now in transition. This is Gilbert. Gilbert holds, still holding, takes a whack, and finally does pass off here to Evans. Evans wants to get rid of it and passes off. There's the shot from Bierns, hits somebody in front, gets it back. Ball is loose. Eventually comes down low and put over top of the net on that broken play. the Rock nearly got something out of it. LeBlanc passes off, and now it will be Calgary turning it over on the 32nd violation.
Solid defense there from the rookie. Cummings down low on LeBlanc, just not giving him any opportunity to get in and get a real chance at Frank Chiliano.
Calgary looking to get that offense on track here, as it's been fairly stagnant at times here in this first half. Just one goal to show for it, that from Curtis Dixon. Now here's Digby. Digby passes to Doby. He tries a submarine shot, and Nick Rose comes out on top of his crease to cut down that angle and make the save. And now here's Brody Merrill gathering another loose ball. Merrill stops, hangs on. He takes a whack for his trouble too. Long rainbow pass over to the man off the bench. That's Kieran McCardle. One of those free agents signed from stateside. McCardle now goes behind the net, guarded by Tyler Burton, who's giving him the business. McCardle hangs on to it though. McCardle shoots and scores! Oh, Kieran McCardle just rips one shelf. 3-1 Toronto.
Well, and that's a bounce shot too. I mean, when you watch the replay here, McCardle comes out and just fires it down low and skips it off the carpet into the top corner. What a goal for Keenan McCardle, make it 3-1 Rock.
Well, Calgary, Ryan, just has to get something going offensively. They're not getting many looks, and when they get them, Nick Rose just looks completely in the zone so far.
Well, and it's one thing to be making the saves Nick Rose is making. It's quite another to do it how casually he does, because I think that's got to play into you psychologically when the guy makes it look as easy as Nick Rose has been making it look so far in this game.
Yeah, if I was making the Nick Rose bobblehead doll, I would just have it not bobble. Because he just doesn't really move much in there. Everything is so calm. I doubt that's what it's going to be, but that's what I would do. Here's Berg now. Berg pass to Dixon, scores! Curtis Dixon right on cue. 3-2, the Roughnecks back to within one. Second of the night for Superman.
Well, you put it right in front of the crease right there for Curtis Dixon, and he's going to get the job done. He goes up and over Nick Rose with this opportunity, taking the nice feed from Wes Berg, finding himself with a little bit of room, and that's all Curtis Dixon needs to make it a 3-2 game, is just a tiny bit of space.
Nice pass by Wes Berg too to find, basically that ball had to be in one spot for Curtis Dixon, and Berg put it right there as those two continue to develop chemistry, and as a result we have a 3-2 lacrosse game. Timeout on the floor with 9:16 to go here in the second quarter. Toronto leads 3-2. You're watching the National Lacrosse League on NLLTV.com.
Tonight's game is brought to you in part by Sports Interaction, Canada's home for worldwide sports betting. Bet responsibly at sportsinteraction.com. Disclaimer, only residents of Canada may open an account with Sports Interaction. The service is not available to users outside of Canada.
The NLL would like to welcome Sports Interaction as an official partner in Canada for the 2017 season. Sports Interaction is Canada's home for worldwide sports betting. Bet responsibly at sportsinteraction.com. 3-2, the Toronto Rock leading the Calgary Roughnecks here at Scotiabank Saddledome on a Saturday afternoon. Sunday afternoon, actually.
Yes.
We're usually here on Saturdays.
We are typically Friday or Saturday nights.
That's right. Here's Berg now shooting. Save made by Rose. Ball is loose there on top of the crease, and then Digby sits on it briefly, still loose, and finally gathered in by the Rock, and they're going to look to move it down the floor here. 14-14, shots on goal identical, and we have a 3-2 lacrosse game. Brody Merrill, no surprise. He is just a loose ball vacuum. I don't know how he does it, but basically every year amongst the league leaders. And we have a penalty coming up here to the Calgary Roughnecks, so Rose to the bench in 6-on-5. And that'll come almost to the yawning cage there, and as Bob Snyder touches it, we'll get the call. I saw a stick go flying, so I imagine it has something to do with that.
There is a stick just lying abandoned in the middle of the floor, so it's likely a slashing call, although we'll get the official here word momentarily. 2 minutes for holding the stick.
Well, not doing a good job of it if it ends up on the floor. The power play for Toronto, 1 for 2 on the evening. Of course, the afternoon, of course, they had that long 5-on-5 that was abbreviated, but nonetheless, they made it quick work on their opening power play and then struggled on that second one. That shot on goal turned aside, or actually it was wide, so the shot clock doesn't get reset. Here's the shot now. That one off of Chiliano. Nice save that time off of Turner Evans. Battle on the boards for it. LeBlanc comes out of it, swings it across the other side. And now up high, here's Schreiber. He passes off over to Evans, looking for the quick stick opportunity. Couldn't release it fast enough. Now to Schreiber. He winds, fakes the shot. And now over at the side, passes up high. Here's LeBlanc with it. LeBlanc up high. There's the shot. Comes right back to the slot area. Rebound again. Chiliano makes a couple of sparkling saves. Schreiber turns it over. Here the Rock again. Shot, scores. Well, they stick with it, and eventually, I believe it was LeBlanc. Pardon me, it's not. It's Turner Evans with the goal. Pardon me, it's Hickey with the goal, I think.
Yeah, it bounced around a little bit in there, and it does just squeak through Chiliano there, but what a set of saves right before that for Frank Chiliano. Tough luck that the fourth time was a charm there as he put together a pretty solid run of stops before the Rock make it 4-2.
We've seen the ball coming hard off that back wall, straight back into the slot a few times on either end of the floor. And that time that led to all sorts of chaos for the Calgary Roughnecks, who are now down by 2 once again. Bell drops the ball, turnover there by Cree. Nice job to get it back for his team. Cree now looking to escape Bell's attention and does so. And now will hand off and hit the bench. He gives it to Jesse Gamble. And Gamble now will do the same as he provides the ball to McCardle, who has one in this game. And McCardle goes back and forth, gets the return pass, eventually comes to Turner Evans. Evans to McCardle. McCardle now thought about a shot. Now Evans up high. Evans fakes the shot. He'll pass off as they work it around nicely. And then the ball is picked off nicely there by the Calgary Roughnecks defense, and off to the races is Scott Carnegie. Carnegie now twirling the stick, looking for help off the bench. Dixon with it. Dixon has accounted for both Calgary Roughnecks goals, and really so far Calgary's been unable to get the left side of the offense really going. There's a shot by Lowe, and that's high and wide, and here comes Brody Merrill with another loose ball. Merrill in transition, passes off. There's a shot. Chiliano makes the easy save, and now Calgary looking to push the action down the floor. Dane Doby ahead of the play, doesn't get the pass. Instead, it's McRae hanging on, pulls up, shots, try to bounce shot. That's into the crowd, and it'll be Rock possession.
Yeah, I don't know about that shot selection from Dan McRae. That one bouncing in front of the crease and hitting the top of the boards. The bounce just not working for him there.
Well, like I say, Calgary needs to get the left side going here. When this offense is doing well, it's because they've got both sides of the floor going, and so far it's just been nothing from Dane Doby and Jeff Shatler on that side. And there's another goal, this time off the stick of Tom Schreiber. Give him the hat trick, building on that 10-point game from a week ago, and he's on fire right now. And the Rock have their biggest lead of the game, 5-2.
Yeah, solid shot there from Schreiber, just over that top corner. Chiliano shrugging as if to ask what could he do on that one. Wow, I mean, you take a look from that angle, there's 3 players between him and Schreiber at least. So a solid screen there from the Rock as they collapsed on the top of the crease and kept Frank Chiliano from seeing that one.
So Schreiber with 10 points a week ago, he's got 4 already to go already tonight. There's another shot. Chiliano makes a save. this time on Brett Hickey, as right now the floor is tilted towards the Roughnecks side of the floor when it comes to how this action is going right now. Calgary's got to get some momentum back here, as right now their offensive game is a little flat. Here's Shatler with it. Shatler to Dixon. Dixon now hangs on. Now gets a pick, tries a shot. Rose makes the save up high and does a nice job to corral the rebound. And then Dixon collides with, that was Brody Merrill out near center. Looks like everyone's okay. And here come the Rock again, looking for more. Ball is dropped. Calgary a chance to turn it over here if they can find it on the carpet. And eventually it is moved down the floor. Here's Garrett McIntosh with it. McIntosh has numbers. There's a bounce shot. Another save by Nick Rose as he stops Jeff Shatler. And now here's a breakaway opportunity for Brett Hickey. He's in there, shoots, and Chiliano makes the save.
Yeah, Toronto really punished their opponents last week with transition opportunities. Hasn't really been able to get their transition scoring here tonight against the Roughnecks. Credit Frank Chiliano for making the stops.
And there's a goal by the Roughnecks as Lowen bounces it in. I'm not sure if the initial shot was in. Bounced back on Rose and into the net. We'll see if the Rock are interested in a challenge. Nick Rose isn't happy about something, and he says he wants a flag thrown.
So this is going to be very interesting because Riley Lowen takes the shot out of the crease, and I believe he clears the crease by the time it goes in, which is legal because it bounces off the post, off Rose, off the post, and in. By the time it gets in, Riley Lowen has cleared the crease. And a solid article from Graham Perro this week on NLL Chatter about the rules and what's a goal and what's not a goal. So this one is going to go to review as they challenge. But I believe Riley Lowen is out of the crease before this goal crosses the line.
But the way he reacted, he didn't look like it was going to count. I mean, if you go by player reaction there, I mean, obviously...
he doesn't think it's in. But then he's out of the crease before it bounces across the line, and the signal goes. You can see he's well behind.
Quick look by the officials.
They're waving it off, no goal, I believe.
No goal is the call. So it'll come off the board, and the score will remain 5-2 with 4:50 to go here in the second quarter. We'll get you updated when we come back. You're watching the National Lacrosse League on NLLTV.com. 5-2, the Toronto Rock leading the Calgary Roughnecks here at Scotiabank Saddledome. A reminder, don't miss your chance to see all the action live this season on NLLTV.com. Sign up for the NLL Pass to watch all the games of your favorite team or all the action period. Plus, you get exclusive content, highlights, interviews, and more. Back to the live action here where it's Toronto with possession, but they turn it over. Manning comes over to take the ball, and Calgary now looking for any sort of momentum here. Will try and get the offense on track. Curtis Dixon accounting for both Calgary goals, and really apart from him, not much has been clicking offensively for the Calgary Roughnecks, but they're still in this one. Only down 3 here with 4:18 to go here in the first half. The Roughnecks now going to work offensively. As looking for an opening is Berg. Berg passes off. This is Schattler. Schattler back to Berg. Berg with room. Tries a shot off the post. Nick Rose didn't move on that. Not sure what was going on there, but he, I don't know if
I think he just knew it was going to hit the post. That's how Nick Rose has started to play this season. He doesn't move unless he absolutely has to.
Here's Berg again, looking down low, and that does come to Rose as well. Up with it and looking to move it ahead, and does so into the waiting hands of Sandy Chapman. Chapman passes off now with under 4 minutes to go here. The Rock looking for more insurance as they're up by 3 here and have really controlled play here in the second quarter. LeBlanc has it. LeBlanc passes to Kier and McCardle. There's a shot, and Chiliano makes the save in his breadbasket. Now pushing it ahead to Bob Snyder. Snyder has all sorts of room ahead of him. Snyder tries a shot and bounces it wide of the near post. Bell has it near center. Actually allows Digby to take it instead. So now Digby looks towards the net. Doesn't have a lot of help on that side, so he's going to send it across to Schattler. Schattler with 10 to shoot. Back to Digby. Digby tries a shot. Rose has a bounce between his legs, but again keeps it out and now sends it ahead to Magnuson. Magnuson has problems controlling it, so Calgary gets back on defense. Allows Turner Evans to take over for the Rock here with now under 3 minutes to go here in the first half. 5-2, Toronto leading. Evans gets the ball back. Now he'll pass it to McCardle. McCardle now around the defender, shoots and scores! Kieran McCardle again with a beautiful goal. 6-2 Toronto.
Well, what Toronto's been doing very effectively so far is getting beef between them and Frank Chiliano. He comes off the pick, or rather he comes off the defender, looks up, there's a screen, there's 3 players on top of the crease. Chiliano's going to be somewhat obstructed, and as a result, a 6-2 lead now for the Toronto Rock with 2:45 to play in the half. Calgary's got to get something going here offensively in these last couple minutes.
Another win for Tyler Burton. He's done his job here so far tonight on the face-off dot. And with 2:35 to go here, Calgary looking for some answers offensively and how to solve Nick Rose. Dixon with it. Dixon has solved him twice. Passes off. Here's Bird. Tries a shot, and Rose just calmly reaches out and grabs that one. Now played ahead to Jesse Gamble. Gathers it in. Steps over to the Calgary end of the floor. Gamble holds on. Gamble, well, he might shoot there. Instead, he does eventually pass to Tom Schreiber. And why not? 3 goals for him already tonight. Pass this time to Hickey, and he's stopped by Chiliano. Ball to the corner. Bell takes over nicely there as he gathered it in, despite having a number of members of the Rock around him. And now with under 2 to go here in the half, Calgary would love to do something here just to get something happening before they hit the locker room, as it has been a bit of an offensive struggle here in the first half. Digby with it. Digby pass across to Dixon eventually. Behind the net, stuff attempt, and Rose makes the save despite looking completely the wrong way.
I mean, Nick Rose was completely backwards. He's not looking at the play at all. Dane Dobie just hit him.
Yeah, that kind of half for the Calgary Roughnecks, and now the Rock looking to build on the lead. Here they come again. Schreiber with it, gets attention, passes off. McCardle looking for the hat trick. Chiliano makes the save and immediately looks down the floor. Has Dobie for the breakaway. Dobie makes the shot on net, and Rose another big save. Bodies everywhere.
Penalty upcoming, I believe, here to the Rock. A tripping penalty.
What a half for Nick Rose, though.
I mean, Dane Dobie right on the doorstep and tries to put it home. Nick Rose keeps him out, and it will be a tripping call here against the Rock. And Calgary will get a power play with 1:03 to go in the half. As Curtis Dixon's awfully slow to get up here, but I know he's, I imagine he believes he's got time as the Rock have to head to the box.
Well, and maybe giving his teammates a bit of time as well, just to get rested for this final push here with 63 seconds to go in the half. It is a tripping call.
And that's on number 45 for the Rock. He'll sit for 2 or less, as Dane Dobie had his opportunity cut short. Well, you can see the stick comes right out of his hand as well.
So Calgary 0 for 1 on the power play. That power play, I think, was about 40 seconds in length, so it was abbreviated, and we'll see if they can cash in here. Dobie on the floor still. Dobie hangs on, up high to Dixon. Dixon winds over to Dobie. That pass eludes him. Schattler has to take it off the wall. Now Schattler looks towards the net, up high to Dixon. Dixon behind his back to Berg. Berg steps out, over to Dixon now, 9 to shoot. Dixon fires, puts it wide. Berg catches it, over to the side, and oh my goodness! Rose robs Schattler, who had a yawning cage.
Nick Rose has put on a clinic here in the first half. What a performance on that stop on Jeff Schattler, who had all of the net to shoot at, and Nick Rose comes flying across and keeps it a 6-2 game.
Stick went flying. I mean, he's made saves every sort of way in this first half. He's made it looking the wrong way, made it by throwing his stick, and but it's worked in all cases except for 2, and as a result, it will be the Rock hitting the locker room here with a 5-2 lead, unless, 6-2. Calgary's going to call timeout here, though. There is a 3.4 right now showing on the game clock. They might adjust that slightly as the Roughnecks are asking for a little bit more time to be put back on. But boy, yeah, the story of this game so far. Shots on goal, 24-22. It's actually been pretty even, but the Roughnecks have simply been stymied and befuddled by Nick Rose.
Yeah, Nick Rose has been absolutely phenomenal here in the first half. I mean, that last save on Jeff Schattler was exactly what the doctor was looking for. If you're the Toronto Rock, you keep the rush from getting any momentum, and as a result, the Rock with a 6-2 lead. Calgary's going to have a couple seconds here to try and put one home, but what a killer Nick Rose has been in this first half. I mean, you think the Dane Dobie stuff attempt with Rose just looking over his shoulder and closing his legs, and Dobie having nowhere to put the ball. I mean, what a first half for Nick Rose.
So it is 3.4 that'll be on the clock. Frank Chiliano will be on the bench. They're going to have to do something very quickly. Here's Dixon with it. Dixon plays it ahead. There's Berg. The shot might have been after the horn went, but no matter. Rose makes the save and has a couple words with Berg as they both hit the floor. So it is 6-2, the Rock with a 4-goal lead at halftime. We have the halftime show coming up for you here on NLLTV.com, and you are watching the National Lacrosse League on NLLTV.com.
Pro lacrosse teams are now fielded in Philadelphia, Boston, New York, Maryland, Montreal, and Quebec.
Yesterday there was friendly competition and not so friendly competition. We knew our true colors weren't just worn on our backs, they were painted on our faces and hoisted as high in the air as we could possibly carry them. Whatever it took to claim our turf. Yesterday, we left it all out there. Blood, sweat, tears. You name it, we left it. We kept ourselves focused and we kept each other in check. And the only thing we took were epic shots. Yesterday, we saw more twists and turns in 8 seconds than most people saw in an entire season. We lost the ball, lost our minds. We lost countless times in every game. If you could see the ball, that was a slow day. Yesterday, physics didn't apply to us. Gravity wasn't welcome in our box. Armed with just a stick and a ball, we took flight. Yesterday, we were the best we could be. Today is our day.
Tyler Digby reached a career milestone, joining the Century Club by earning his 100th career NLL goal. But can you imagine if Tyler never played professional lacrosse? The Calgary star actually had to decide between joining the CFL and joining the NLL. We caught up with him to find out what led to his final decision. Tyler Digby first picked up a lacrosse stick at the age of 3 after watching his dad play the sport.
I started playing lacrosse very young. My dad played, so I started at a very young age. I spent a lot of time when I was very little watching him play, and kind of just fell in love with lacrosse from a young age.
Lacrosse soon became his passion, his love. But Digby also excelled at football and was actually offered a scholarship to Robert Morris University for both sports.
It was awesome. I got very lucky that the coaches both allowed me to play both sports. Kind of missing that development part of both seasons. With fall ball for lacrosse and spring ball in football. But they were very positive. Let me play.
After graduating, he reached a fork in the road. Being drafted by both the NLL's Vancouver Stealth and the CFL's Ottawa Redblacks, Digby soon realized he was going to have to choose between his two passions.
I think there was probably not going to be any scenario in which lacrosse was going to be out of the picture. I think there could have been a possibility of doing both, but I just felt like it'd been a long time that I hadn't been able to just focus on one sport, and figured that trying to play at the top level, in either the CFL or NLL, that really I was going to have to dedicate myself to either one.
After a successful first season back home with the Vancouver Stealth, the choice became crystal clear. He couldn't picture a life without lacrosse.
I was able to go home to Vancouver, play, in my hometown, and that was just something that I didn't want to pass up on.
Digby, pump and shoots, scores! Calgary 3 for 5 on the power play. They're back on it right now. Inside feed, Digby shoots and scores. Just like that, Digby inside shoots, top corner! Make it 5 on the night for Digby.
And it seems that decision has paid off. Digby recently reached a career milestone, earning his 100th career goal, and has helped the Calgary Roughnecks get off to a 3-2 start in the 2017 season, currently tied for first in their division.
I felt I was lucky to be able to play both sports for as long as I did. I kind of I had always had lacrosse as my number one sport. It was always it's kind of always been there, but and then after that first year I was playing in NLL, I think I just kind of decided that that was kind of what I wanted to keep doing.
For NLL Productions, I'm Mia Gordon.
Welcome lacrosse fans, Tyson Geik of NLL Productions here with you right now, and I'm joined by Shay Hewen, CEO and founder of the U-Hawk Camera. We have some exciting news for you today. The NLL has officially partnered with the U-Hawk Camera, the new official action camera of the National Lacrosse League. Shay, an exciting moment, for both parties here.
Yeah, it's an incredible day. It's a big step and a big moment in the history of sports, and for the National Lacrosse League to be the first league to step up and bring actual player point of view, video footage to fans at home in the actual real raw competition in the season. It's a monumental day, and we're very excited to be the official camera provider to be a part of that.
It's a very pivotal moment for the sport. How is it going to affect the sport at the grassroots level and really help grow the game?
Well, that's a big part of it, and a lot of what went into the decision making and making this happen is we have a lot of partners now who are kind of coming around and going to help, distribute the content and grow the game together. And a lot of these kids, they live on social media these days, so to be able to provide them a new angle, even after the game, to see these highlights is going to be extremely engaging. And the National Lacrosse League is a big part of growing the game, and we're happy to assist in that.
A very sleek and compact design for these cameras. I think players are going to really enjoy wearing them. What went into the design here?
Well, we knew we wanted to be here someday. And in order to do that, we had to think of a camera that was going to be, sleek and slick enough that the player would forget he's even wearing it. So we wanted to design something, that would do just that and kind of embody the essence of an athlete. And, the great benefit is that these players now actually get to see the game again from their own eyes, and to be able to do that game over game throughout the course of a season is really going to help them perform, and they're excited about it as well.
Well, lacrosse is such a tough sport, and hitting is involved here. So how much of a beating can these cameras take?
Well, I think we're going to put them to the test today. So, they're very strong, they're very durable, and they sit in just the right spot. So we're going to find out.
Shay, we got the chance to catch up with some of the players to see what they thought of the new U-Hawk camera.
Hey, I'm Jesse Gamble with the Toronto Rock in the NLL, and this
Welcome, lacrosse fans. Tyson Geik of NLL Productions here with you right now, and I'm joined by Shay Hewen, CEO and founder of the U-Hawk camera. We have some exciting news for you today. The NLL has officially partnered with the U-Hawk camera, the new official action camera of the National Lacrosse League. Shay, an exciting moment, for both parties here.
Yeah, it's an incredible day. It's a big step and a big moment in the history of sports, and for the National Lacrosse League to be the first league to step up and bring actual player point of view, video footage to fans at home in the actual real raw competition in the season. It's a monumental day, and we're very excited to be the official camera provider to be a part of that.
It's a very pivotal moment for the sport. How is it going to affect the sport at the grassroots level and really help grow the game?
Well, that's a big part of it, and a lot of what went into the decision making and making this happen is we have a lot of partners now who are kind of coming around and going to help, distribute the content and grow the game together. And a lot of these kids, they live on social media these days, so to be able to provide them a new angle, even after the game, to see these highlights is going to be extremely engaging. And the National Lacrosse League is a big part of growing the game, and we're happy to assist in that.
A very sleek and compact design for these cameras. I think players are going to really enjoy wearing them. What went into the design here?
Well, we knew we wanted to be here someday. And in order to do that, we had to think of a camera that was going to be, sleek and slick enough that the player would forget he's even wearing it. So we wanted to design something, that would do just that and kind of embody the essence of an athlete. And, the great benefit is that these players now actually get to see the game again from their own eyes, and to be able to do that game over game throughout the course of a season is really going to help them perform, and they're excited about it as well.
Well, lacrosse is such a tough sport, and hitting is involved here. So how much of a beating can these cameras take?
Well, I think we're going to put them to the test today. So, they're very strong, they're very durable, and they sit in just the right spot. So we're going to find out.
So as you said, there were some really big plays in this week. So I'm going to throw it over to you. Who were your 3 best players this week in Box Bosses?
Mia, it's always difficult to pick my box bosses because there's different players stepping up in every single week. This week was extremely difficult to pick the guys out and kind of rank them 3 to 1, but I've got to do it. So I'm going to start at number 3 from the Colorado Mammoth, Callum Crawford. Crawford had an 8-point night against the Swarm, his top producing night of the season so far. This was a player I said needed to step up, and he was up to that task. Crawford is a leader, he's a player that can play in the clutch, and he was an easy choice for number 3. Now I move along to number 2 from the New England Black Wolves, Evan Kirk. Kirk played a great game for the Black Wolves in Week 6 against the Rochester Nighthawks, who won their second 1-goal game in a row. He stopped 46 of 55 shots, allowing single digits in goals, and had a save percentage of .836. He's getting back to his goaltender of the year form just now. And at number 1, I have the man they're starting to call Captain America for the Toronto Rock, Tom Schreiber. The rookie had a 10-point night against the Buffalo Bandits, 3 goals, 7 assists. Schreiber transitioned to the box game so well, and I'm sure that this is going to be a player that a lot of American-born players just grow up looking up to. He's now leading the Toronto Rock in terms of points, and he just keeps getting better and better for the team. He's a shifty player that draws defenders, and he has a knack for beating players in opportune positions with the ball. He's also shown that he can put the ball in the net, so that was why he was my easy choice for the number 1 box boss of the week.
So, hello everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of the NLL Social Circle, where we take a look at some of the big stories happening around the league on social media. And this week we start off in Buffalo, where the Bandits have announced their Hometown Hero Night taking place February 17th, where they will honor local community heroes. Now this week, leading up to that game, they actually went out to visit some of these local heroes and dropped off coffees, muffins, and donuts. Well, this was a very special week for Jeremy Thompson. He had the chance to speak to over 1,200 First Nation students in Saskatoon this week. He posted on social media at the Saskatoon Tribal Council Career Expo, and fans were reacting to this one, so congratulations to Jeremy. I wish I was at the Rochester Nighthawks game this weekend because it looks like a ton of fun. It is Kids Day. Kids under 12 are getting in for free, and there's even going to be inflatables and laser tag ahead of the game. Fans, are you still looking for that perfect Valentine's Day gift? Well, I am here to help. How about date night at the Hive? The Georgia Swarm and Jezebel magazine are teaming up, and they're going to be offering quite a great deal this weekend. For just $68, you're going to get 2 club-level seats, drinks, appetizers, and a dozen cookies. You just gotta be ready to pucker up for that kiss cam. And it seems everyone was buzzing about this goal from Georgia Swarm's Miles Thompson. Check out this behind-the-back, no-look goal, even making its way onto SportsCenter's top 10 plays this week. Well, fans, that wraps up this week's episode of the NLL Social Circle. If you want to be featured right here, it's easy. All you got to do is tag the NLL in your social media posts for a chance to get on. For NLL Productions, I'm Mia Gordon.
(6-2) the Toronto Rock leading the Calgary Roughnecks here at Scotiabank Saddledome here. My name is Grant Farhall with Ryan Ballantyne. A reminder that the NLL would like to welcome Sports Interaction as an official partner in Canada for the 2017 season. Sports Interaction is Canada's home for worldwide sports betting. Bet responsibly at sportsinteraction.com. Statistical leaders after that first half of lacrosse for the Calgary Roughnecks. It was Curtis Dixon leading the way, 2 goals for him, and not much else happening elsewhere. Just single assists from Tyler Digby and Westberg as Calgary really struggled to beat Nick Rose and penetrate that Rock defense. For the Rock offensively, once again, Tom Schreiber the super rookie out of the U.S., leading the way. 3 goals and 4 points for him. 2 goals for another rookie, Kieran McArdle, and Brick Hickey chipping in with 1 as well. 2 helpers for Turner Evans and Stefan LeBlanc. Probably the story of the first half. Nick Rose, 21 saves on 23 shots. Ryan, Calgary has to get the offense going.
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously you're down 4. You need to get at least 4 more than your opponent here if you want to take home a win, or 5 more in the second half. But Nick Rose allowing only 8 and 3/4 goals a game is very tough to beat in general. That Rock defense collapsing well too. It's going to be tough to beat. The Roughnecks are going to have to wake up their offense here in the second half if they want a chance to take home the 2 points.
Big battle in the corner for the ball, and finally it's the Rock that come out with it, and they move it down the floor. Actually turned over as Schattler gets it. Schattler now tries to send it down to the crease area to Digby, and it's picked off there by Brody Merrill, who just always seems to know where to go when it comes to finding loose balls, and he gets in the way of that opportunity. And now the Rock will go to work offensively to build on that 4-goal lead here as they lead this one 6-2. There is Schreiber. Schreiber passes off to Stefan LeBlanc, back to Schreiber. Schreiber now looking at a one-on-one. Behind the back pass, the recipient, Brett Hickey, didn't see it coming. Ball to the corner, Hickey gets it, and as he does, it will be Calgary possession.
Yeah, shot clock expiring, just 30 seconds to get a shot off, and unable to do so on that possession, the Toronto Rock.
Smaller crowd here tonight, just over 8,000 fans here at Scotiabank Saddledome, and the Roughnecks need to do something to get those 8,000 fans into this one. It's a little quiet, a little flat right now here at the Rough House, but if Calgary can get an early goal here in the third quarter, that would help get some momentum. There is a shot, hits a stick and goes well up into the netting. It will be Calgary, actually they're going to say Rock possession.
So I guess they determined that shot went off of Dane Dobie's stick.
Here's Cree stepping over center, passing off to Schreiber. And now Schreiber gets it back. And now they start to move things around. Here is LeBlanc. LeBlanc looks up high, gives it to Hickey. Hickey leans on his man. Now one-hand pass to Schreiber. Schreiber across the other side, a little too hot to handle. And that'll give Calgary possession back here.
Yeah, that one went up into the crowd and then came back down. So the ball back in play after bouncing off the stairs and returning to the field.
Schattler has Digby off the bench. Digby goes down into the corner. This is Westberg. Westberg now passes off to Jeff Schattler into the slot area. There's a shot over the net. Good look there for Riley Lowen, but he can't put it on Nick Rose. And now here come the Rock again. This is Edwards. Damon Edwards passes off, and he'll go to the bench, but gives it to LeBlanc before he does so. LeBlanc goes to Evans, and now they play it up high. This is Schreiber with it. Schreiber gets a pick. Schreiber now takes some chops from Dan McRae. Now with some room, passes over to the far side. There's a shot. Chiliano fights that one off, makes the save. And then a pile up in the wall area. Dan McRae sitting on, I believe, Doug Lintner. And that will be Toronto possession.
Loose ball push called on McRae down in that scrum. Getting a little too aggressive trying to get the ball. It gives Toronto a fresh 30.
LeBlanc has it for Toronto. LeBlanc now looks over to the far side. Keenan McArdle over there. He passes off, and this is Evans. Evans looking for the quick stick opportunity. That does not work. And Calgary now will turn it down the floor. Here is Bell in transition. Bell has Dane Dobie with him. Instead he goes across the other side. This is Dixon. Dixon double team, drops the ball, trying to get it back. Everyone boots at it. And finally it's Jesse Gamble, Johnny on the spot to take over. Gamble has a 2-on-1 developing. Gamble passes off. And here comes a one-handed shot, scores! Latrell Harris, a little unorthodox, but he'll take it.
What a goal from Latrell Harris, being mugged with just one hand on the stick and gets it 5-hole on Frank Chiliano. What a play there.
Throws the stick as he's scoring the goal. I don't know if I've ever seen that.
Well, nevertheless, Latrell Harris picks up the goal and makes it 7-2. And you talked about being a little flat here in the Rough House with just under 4 minutes gone in the third quarter here. It is dead. The crowd is completely taken out of it by the suffocating style of the defense here. And credit coach Bruce Codd, who's moved to the Rock for shutting down this Roughnecks offense.
He knows those Roughnecks shooters real well, having spent many years here as teammate and then as an assistant coach. And another missed opportunity here is possession back to the Rock, and over near the bench, Wes Berg is into things with Jeff Gilbert. The Rock bench screaming at the officials, and in fact we do have a penalty coming up to the Calgary Roughnecks. That is not going to help their cause to get back in this one. Schreiber now cuts to the net, passes up high, gathered in there by Turner Evans. So 6 on 5 here. Rose to the bench. Now Stefan LeBlanc has it. LeBlanc over to Schreiber. Schreiber, quick stick opportunity, scores! Oh, what a pass by Schreiber to Turner Evans, and make it now 8-2 Rock.
Yeah, this is an incredible pass, and Schreiber leaping up to stay out of the crease. Chiliano finds himself not able to get over fast enough.
Actually, they're calling it, oh no. For a moment, I thought the official was calling something there, but my mistake.
Molosky had a good look at this one, deciding whether or not to challenge to see if Chiliano had enough of it before Schreiber landed, but it doesn't look like that's the case. The challenge flag not coming out of the pocket for Kurt Molosky, and make it 8-2 Rock.
Bob Snyder has the ball now for the Calgary Roughnecks as they need to do anything here to get back in this one. They're down 6 here. The only good news for them is that there is still essentially a full half of lacrosse to go here. We've got 10:30 remaining in that third quarter. That went off the lid of somebody. Schattler says it should be Calgary possession, but they are going to agree. Schattler takes it from the official. Schattler passes to Dixon with 8 to shoot. Dixon now looking for a lane. Defender falls down, and Berg was in the crease, so that shot does not count. And again, another wasted possession by the Roughnecks. Here's Edwards in transition for the Rock. Edwards has help off the bench in the form of Brett Hickey. Hickey now surveys the scene. He's got Littner with him. Now Hickey to Littner. Littner takes a shot, bounce shot. Chiliano makes the save. Rebound to the Rock, though, and a fresh 30. Now Schreiber loads. Passes off. Here comes the shot. Off the bar as LeBlanc goes post. And the ball comes all the way down to the Rock end of the floor. Nick Rose will come over to give it a look. That'll be another fresh 30 for Toronto here. Schreiber quickly runs it down the floor. Now to Hickey. Hickey now. Pass to the crease area. Got through. And now behind the net and out the other side comes Littner. And he's pinned to the ground and loses his lid in the process somehow. And now Dan McRae off to the races. McRae has help with him, and that pass just doesn't connect. Riley Lowen can't find it. And it's been that kind of afternoon here for the Roughnecks. Now coming out, here's Dan McRae at the side of the crease, passes off to the other side to Tyler Digby. 15 to shoot, so Calgary wants to just get things organized here. Digby behind the back pass, there's a shot, and Dixon is stopped by Rose. Fresh 30 here for the Roughnecks. Played up high again to Digby. Finally, Dan McRae gets to the bench, so Westberg is on. Here's Lowen now. Lowen, pass to Katoni. That's wide of the net. And now here come the Rock taking over once again. LeBlanc in transition. He takes the shot, Chiliano the save. Rebound is available out near the center area. Race for it. Who's going to get there first? And of course it is Brody Merrill. Who else would it be when it comes to a loose ball up for grabs? He's made a career of sucking up every loose ball available, and that allows his team to get a fresh 30. This is Turner Evans. Evans now plays it down low to Kieran McCardle. McCardle now has a couple goals in this one. Cuts to the net, tries to go up high and stuff it in. And I believe put it wide. And now McIntosh has it. Calgary still looking for their first goal of the first half. Second half, pardon me. And here's Jeff Schattler now with 20 to shoot. Schattler has been stymied so far tonight. Really, all of the Roughnecks have, except for Curtis Dixon, who has 2. Now Doby, penalty upcoming to the Toronto Rock, so Chiliano will go to the bench. Calgary will try and work something here. 6 on 5. Doby escapes some attention, scores! Dane Doby just stays with it there and eventually beats Nick Rose. 8-3, the score. Toronto up by 5.
Dane Doby just moving towards the net consistently, constantly shucking and jiving around a couple different players before eventually going 5-hole on Nick Rose and trying to get this crowd fired up here as the Roughnecks down 5. Dane Dobie just squirting through the defense and finds himself with a goal here to cut the Rock lead to 5.
And now the key is if Calgary can go on a bit of a run, they are going to have a run if they want to get back into this one. So we'll see if this is their opening. 8-3 with 7:39 to go. You're watching the NLL on NLLTV.com.
Tonight's game is brought to you in part by Sports Interaction, Canada's home for worldwide sports betting. Bet responsibly at sportsinteraction.com. Disclaimer, only residents of Canada may open an account with Sports Interaction. The service is not available to users outside of Canada.
The Toronto Rock leading the Calgary Roughnecks here on a Sunday afternoon in Calgary. The Roughnecks, though, get their first goal of the second half, looking to build on that, but Schreiber trying to provide the immediate answer for the Rock. Schreiber passes off, and then into the crease area, hits a body and into the corner. Big hit thrown there by Mike Carnegie. Stefan LeBlanc just escapes that. It's played ahead to Tyson Bell. Bell now gets help off the bench from Dane Dobie. Dobie gets the ball. Dobie has Schattler with him on that side. Schattler takes up position, and Dane Dobie will come down to Schattler. Schattler out of that corner now. Tried to find Digby. Did find him, but a tough pass, and eventually it rolls to Nick Rose. And he throws the head nearly into the penalty box, but over there to take it is Hostrauser. He passes over to Kieran McCardle. And now the Rock will do the wholesale change. Evans out there already, takes the ball. And now it comes over to Schreiber with 9 to shoot. Took a while for the Rock to get their offense on the floor this time. Now Schreiber cutting towards the net, passes off. Hickey scores. Well, there's the offensive creativity of Schreiber as he draws all the attention and then finds Hickey. 9-3 Rock.
Yeah, what a great play here from Schreiber as Hickey just takes it back, loads and fires. After Schreiber draws the attention, it leaves Hickey free. He gets to go 5-hole on Chiliano and restore that 6-goal lead and take any kind of momentum away from the Roughnecks, who are trying to build on that last Dane Dobie goal.
Yeah, that's a killer response there by the Rock. And again, the Roughnecks down by 6, and the Rock take possession right off the faceoff. Jesse Gamble kind of runs into a double team, it bounces off and maintains possession, gives it to Harris, who had a goal earlier in this quarter. Harris to McCardle, and McCardle now will give it to Schreiber. Schreiber is a handful out there, and he has it once again. Schreiber pulls up, pass to the slot area. That pass interrupted nicely by Mike Carnegie to come over and interrupt Stefan LeBlanc. LeBlanc recovers, though, gets the ball back up high to Evans. There's a shot fought off by Chiliano, and Bell has it for the Roughnecks. Bell steps over center as the Roughnecks down by 6, under 6 to go here in the third quarter. Bell calling for it. Catoni doesn't see him, though. Instead, he comes over to Digby. Digby to Dane Dobie, and then another just casual stick save made by Nick Rose. So he swoops the stick across his 5-hole.
Seems like Nick knows where the ball is going before the shooters even send it. In the right place, the right time, every time is Nick Rose.
Hickey put a shot on Frank Chiliano. He makes the save, and here come the Roughnecks in transition as Cummings runs the floor. And then he drops it Interrupted by the defender, and now battle at the wall for it. Body's on the ground, sticks whacking away at it. Someone's going to come out of the pile with it, and we're going to get the officials to decide who it is. And I did not see the call there.
It looks like we're going to get a face-off.
Yeah, you're right. Which is a rare thing. You don't often see face-offs anywhere except for at center, but we're going to have that here. And it will be Bob Snyder for the Roughnecks against Jordan Magnuson for the Rock. And it will be Calgary possession. Shatler will be the man to take it here. Passes off to Digby. Digby down low to Dixon. Dixon now, a bit of room. We'll find Shatler. Tough take for him, but he does get it. Now Shatler looking towards the net. Tries that shot, looking for that far post. Can't find it. Now 13 to shoot. Dixon has it. Penalty upcoming to the Rock. Chiliano to the bench. This is how Calgary got their last goal, was on the 6-on-5. Digby can't handle that pass on top of the crease, and Calgary will go to the power play here. When we come back, we'll tell you all about it. 9-3, the Rock up big time here at Scotiabank Saddledome. You're watching the National Lacrosse League on NLLTV.com.
That's impossible.
Tonight's game is brought to you in part by Sports Interaction, Canada's home for worldwide sports betting. Bet responsibly at sportsinteraction.com. Disclaimer, only residents of Canada may open an account with Sports Interaction. The service is not available to users outside of Canada.
For the Calgary Roughnecks down against the Toronto Rock, but to the power play now. Trailing by 6, this is a must convert, I would dare say. Calgary so far tonight on that power play, 0 for 2. So lots of work to do offensively for the Roughnecks, who have had their woes here tonight. Looking to change that on the 5-on-4. Here's Berg behind the back to Dixon, cutting to the net, shoots, and another save by Rose.
Yeah, that one just off the post, right past Rose. Dixon trying to go far side, unable to cash in.
Now Berg back to Dixon, up high to Berg. Berg winds, fires, and right into the stick of who else? Brody Merrill plays it ahead, looking for the breakaway pass. Oh, right into the stick. Breakaway opportunity, and Chiliano makes the save on Latrell Harris. What a pass by Brody Merrill. Now Shatler the other way. Shatler passes off. Here's Digby. Digby decides not to cut to the net. Now he'll come out of the corner instead. Out of Berg up high. Berg has Dixon to his left, and didn't see the call there, but possession awarded back to the Rock.
An off-ball foul, I think maybe on Tyler Digby down low.
So it's 62 seconds to go, shorthanded. The Rock now will try and kill some clock here. Got 3:40 to go in the third quarter, and what is a 9-3 Rock lead. They have been simply dominant in this one, and there's nearly a shorthanded goal as McCardle puts it between Chiliano's legs, but it just rolls through the crease. Now Bell in transition. On the power play still for another 39 seconds. The Roughnecks need this one badly if they have any hope of getting back into this one. Dane Doby with it. Doby now to Berg, to Dixon. 10 to shoot. Now Shatler has it. Around the world shot there by Digby, is stopped by Rose. Rose continues to just stymie the Roughnecks time and time. Now here's Berg. Berg winds, fires, cuts to the net. Now comes back. Now Dixon up high. Dixon tries to give it to Digby. That pass in his knees. Dixon now with a 15 to shoot, winds, pass over to the side to Doby, and Rose comes post to post to make that save.
Yeah, nice stop there from Rose. They're trying to get him moving back and forth, but Rose, much more athletic than you would think given his build.
There's an opportunity for the Rock, shorthanded, save made by Chiliano. Rebound is there, and Chiliano makes another save. Penalty now over, so we're back to 5-on-5. The Roughnecks 0 for 3 on the power play, not helping matters on the scoreboard, which they're down 9-3.
Dane Doby's right in the ear of the official. He wanted an illegal substitution call on Toronto, saying they got off the bench too fast.
Now Digby backs to the net. There's a shot by Dixon, saved by Rose into the netting. It'll be Calgary possession. You have to think at this point that Nick Rose is in the heads of the Calgary shooters.
Well, Nick Rose has 27 saves on 30 shots so far, and just everything seems to find him.
Shatler now with it. Shatler now passes off. That pass doesn't work. Dixon takes it off the wall instead. Still 15 to shoot. Drops it briefly. Picks it back up. Drops it again. As the Rock defense collapses, and Cree eventually comes over to grab it. And now here come the Rock with numbers again. 3-on-1 developing. Cree to gamble on top of the crease. Turns and fires in the crease. Chiliano makes the save anyways. Quickly up with it, looking to move it down the floor. Shatler whips it down to Lowen. Lowen now will wait for the offense with now 90 seconds to go in the third quarter. 9-3. The Rock lead this one. Lowen, pass up high to Berg. Berg now with a step. Berg winds, fires, scores. Wes Berg gets on the board, 9-4. Calgary back to within 5.
The first thing that happened when Wes Berg scored was Curtis Dixon turned to look at the clock. This game is not yet over despite a 5-goal lead for the Rock with short time left. It's possible to come back in the game of lacrosse. We saw the Roughnecks put up a 5 spot in the first quarter of last week's game against Saskatchewan, so it's entirely possible, and you know that the Roughnecks haven't yet given up on it. They're going to need a lot of help on the defensive end of the floor from Frank Chiliano, but after a nice goal from Wes Berg, the Roughnecks have a little bit of life.
Every time Calgary has scored tonight, the Rock have provided a pretty quick response, and we'll see if they can do that again. Jordan Magnuson picks up the loose ball. Magnuson passes off to Stefan LeBlanc. LeBlanc bounces it to Schreiber, who's having himself yet another strong game. Continues to get better and better. Hickey now over to LeBlanc. LeBlanc now, plenty of room. There's the shot. Rebound to the Roughnecks, and now they look for a transition opportunity. Here's Scott Carnegie ahead to Digby. He can't handle it. Digby now gives it to Bob Snyder. Snyder thought about a shot, then thought better of it. Snyder then will pass off to Shatler with now 35 seconds to go in the quarter. Here's Dane Doby. Doby tries to spin towards the net, falls, puts it on net, was in the crease. And now with 30 seconds, it'll be the Rock that should get the last opportunity here of the third quarter. Rose looking to the bench with his arms extended, wondering, should I come or not? And it looks like they're going to keep him in there. Hickey now with it. Hickey passes to Schreiber. Schreiber shoots, rebound, loose, and chopped over the net as Chiliano made the save, but had the ball sitting there loose for a moment, and now with just 1 second to go, Calgary rips it on net too late, and the Rock will go to the fourth quarter, leading this one 9-4. And as you mentioned, Ryan, no give in the Roughnecks, and they've come back from bigger than this, but they are going to have to get some things working a lot better here in the fourth quarter and get to Nick Rose. And we'll see if Andrew McBride is able to grab a member of the Roughnecks. Looks like he's going to talk to super sophomore Wes Berg. We'll take you to the floor.
Wes, in a game when things aren't going well, who needs to stand out and be the spark in this situation?
Nobody specifically, just as a unit offensively. We got to get our feet moving, get the ball moving. We get our looks when we're playing as a unit out there. We just need to get back to that.
The offense is successful when you move the ball, continue to have multiple swings. What do you need to be successful and generate some goals here in the fourth quarter?
We just can't settle for one pick, one shot, or a couple passes. We got to work our possessions and get open and kind of grind them out and then get our open chances there.
Wes Berg, ladies and gentlemen.
Thanks, Andrew. 9-4 your score after the third quarter. We'll be back with the fourth quarter. You're watching the National Lacrosse League on NLLTV.com. 9-4, the Calgary Roughnecks trailing the Toronto Rock here at Scotiabank Saddledome as we get set to start the fourth quarter. And it's been that kind of afternoon for the Calgary Roughnecks. We like to talk about milestones. We've had plenty of them this season so far with the Roughnecks for Dane Dobie and Curtis Dixon and others. And we're on a milestone watch here for all kinds of the wrong reasons, Ryan.
Yeah, you never want to set a new franchise record for fewest anything when you're talking about goal scoring. But right now, the Roughnecks are going to need at least 3 here in this fourth quarter to avoid tying a franchise record. Right now, the record for fewest goals for in a game is 6, and that last happened versus the Colorado Mammoth in 2008. So far, not so good if you're the Roughnecks offense, as Toronto adds another goal here as Stefan LeBlanc makes it a 7-goal lead.
Yep, that makes it 10 for the Toronto Rock as Stefan LeBlanc cashes in with his first goal of the game, working on a 4-point evening so far. Offensively, it's been Tom Schreiber leading the way, 3 goals, 3 helpers for him, 6 points. And that is going to make a tough task even tougher when it comes to the Calgary Roughnecks as they are down once again by a 6 spot.
And now it's Christian Del Bianco taking the net for Frank Scigliano, who hasn't had his best afternoon here, allowing 10 goals on 38 shots, and apologies, just a 6-goal lead. The guys on the Jumbotron a little quicker than I expected there when I was trying to do the math, giving Toronto credit for one more that they didn't have yet. Make it 6 goals, 10 for the lead as Christian Del Bianco in now. We saw this last week against Saskatchewan because Del Bianco can make it to the bench faster than Scigliano can, so the Roughnecks switch to the goaltender who can give them that man-up opportunity. We'll see if Del Bianco heads to the bench here early. Looks like he's going to be staying in for the short term. We'll see what happens here if the Roughnecks can get any kind of offensive momentum going.
And a whistle on the play, and the ball turned over again. So it will be the Rock with it, and they're moving it down the floor very quickly. Here's Brody Merrill in transition. Brody Merrill passes off. This is Evans. And you have to think the Rock are going to want to maximize these possessions and really start to turn that clock into an ally here in the fourth quarter. That pass through the crease area doesn't work. Rolls to the corner. Calgary picks it up there and move it down the floor. This is Garrett McIntosh all the way. McIntosh will probably see a lot of action for the next few weeks with that suspension to Harnett. And he'll pass off and go to the bench, and here now is Dixon. 2 goals for Curtis Dixon. Dixon now looking for room. Passes over to Dobie. Dobie to Schattler. Schattler right into the gut of Berg, so he can't handle that. Berg does pick it up the corner, though. Turns, fires, and right into the midsection of Nick Rose, who just plays his angles so well. No trouble for him on that save. And then plays it ahead to Jesse Gamble. Gamble now gathers it in and sends it across. Calgary trying to create turnovers, but that's going to be difficult to do. Here's Schreiber with it. Schreiber runs through all sorts of traffic and eventually passes off to Hickey. Hickey now looking for a quick stick opportunity on top of the crease. That doesn't work. Del Bianco showing that agility, comes out to pounce on the ball and play it ahead to Dan McRae in transition. McRae to Dane Dobie. Dobie out there on that side with Schattler. And now Calgary makes the rest of the changes, and Dobie now will start to look towards the net. Gets the return pass. There's the shot wide, and that's going to come back all the way to center. And Brody Merrill's there for a breakaway. Merrill in one-on-one. Merrill takes the shot, and Del Bianco the save, although I think I heard a whistle just before that, and Merrill getting the explanation right now.
Well, it's going to be Toronto ball, and I'm trying to figure out, I think they might be saying that Merrill didn't get possession before it became over and back.
Right. LeBlanc now with it. LeBlanc holds. LeBlanc still with it. A nice job there by Mike Carnegie to chop it loose, but Evans gets it back to LeBlanc. There's a shot missing the corner. Hickey can't handle it off the wall. Gets it eventually, though. And now with 7 to shoot, puts it to Evans. Evans now to Schreiber. Schreiber takes the shot down low, and Del Bianco makes the save. And now Calgary finally takes over now with under 12 minutes to go here in the fourth quarter. They take possession here, down 6, 10-4. And just has what been an unusually just poor outing offensively for a team that usually puts up goals. Berg now with it. Berg winds, fires, and Rose makes the save. Rebound to the Rock. That's just it. When they've gotten some looks on the Toronto goal, Nick Rose has just been really sharp. The Rock are slow to move it over center, and Calgary's going to get a possession back here, and they have to start taking advantage of these possessions.
An 8-second violation there for the Rock. Got across that half line before 8 seconds expire.
Now Dobie guarded well, so he'll come to Dixon. Dixon now. Dixon looking for Digby, and that combination just has not been in sync tonight. Digby really not much of a factor offensively this afternoon.
No, it seems like every time he gets out there and gets the ball, it just hasn't found the basket of his stick today.
So now the Rock leading 10-4, looking for more. McCardle with it. McCardle has scored a couple pretty ones. This time his pass is picked off, and here comes the Roughnecks in transition. Ahead of the play is Bell. Bell is grabbed and draws the penalty. Passes to Dobie. Dobie shoots. Rose the save. Rebound chopped over the net. And as the Rock touch it, we'll get the call. Nice job there by Bell to basically create that penalty. I think he had two intents that time, either get a good shot on net or draw a penalty, and he kind of did both, but that'll send Calgary to the power play. Their power play has not done well here so far tonight. 0 for 3, I believe. Yes, confirmed. So they'll look to change that here.
Yeah, so far the Roughnecks, well, nothing's gone well for the Roughnecks offensively today. Not one thing, really. They were tied 1-1 at one point, and since then it's been almost all Rock offensively, leading to a 10-4 deficit.
Westberg winds, fires, misses the top post, and Chapman goes behind his own net to gather in that loose ball. Swings it all the way down the floor. Nice pass, and here's a shorthanded opportunity. Shot in there, and Del Bianco makes a nice save on Dan Lintner. Del Bianco looks towards the bench. I'll tell you what, he has some wheels.
Yeah, he's got some jump in those 19-year-old legs.
Now Berg again with it to Dixon. Dixon shoots, he misses the corner. And that's the sign of when a goalie's in your head, when you start to try and go looking for that perfect shot, and it's not there tonight for the Calgary Roughnecks. Timeout on the floor with 9:48 to go here in the fourth quarter. 10-4 Rock lead. You're watching the National Lacrosse League on NLLTV.com.
Two teammates, two brothers going head-to-head in this edition of Versus. Let's see the first goal. You all know this one. Jerome Thompson takes it down the right-hand side, cuts inside, fires the behind-the-back shot past Tyler Carlson. One more look at it. That has been our champion for the past 4 weeks. But finally, I think we may have a play that takes him down. Here it is. Miles Thompson, the behind-the-back shot, top corner on Dylan Ward. Another look there. Wow, the shot had eyes. Finally, one play that may take down Jerome Thompson. Who have you got, Jerome? Or do you have Miles, fans? You can head to Twitter right now to cast your vote.
For the Toronto Rock all over the Calgary Roughnecks tonight. There's nothing, no other way to say it. This has been a dominant performance by the Rock here at Scotiabank Saddledome as they look to improve to 4-1 and are 9:48 away from doing that, barring a miracle comeback here. Calgary is on the power play for another minute 17, however, and the Rock turned over there, so we'll see if Calgary can take advantage. Manning passes off to Dobie. Dobie behind his back, shot wide by Shatler, cutting across the crease. Trapped at the line there by Manning. Now Dixon with it. Manning will change places with Westberg. Now Dixon behind his back to Berg, and oh, that was Digby stoned by Rose point blank. Probably the best look the big man has had here. And now short-handed. Here comes Gamble. Gamble kind of the net, tries to stuff it down low. Del Bianco makes the save. Christian Del Bianco relieving Frank Chiliano of net duties here in the fourth quarter. Early in the fourth, after an early goal by the Rock. Now here's Berg again. Berg to Dixon. 35 seconds on the power play. Down low to Berg, up high. They go back and forth. And then that attempt in the slot area is interrupted. And here's Berg again to Dixon. He winds, fires, Rose the save. Elbows it to the corner where it's taken over there by Schattler. Schattler now to Dixon. Dixon again, cutting towards the net. Oh my goodness! Curtis Dixon! Well, how about that for his hat trick goal? 10-5 as he takes a new trick out of the tickle trunk.
If this goal isn't on Twitter this week to decide on whether or not it's one of the best plays of the year, no one's paying attention. This is a phenomenal goal from Curtis Dixon. Backhand on top of the crease. What a play from Superman. And he may not have a smile on his face right now as they're down 5 with 8 minutes to play, but my goodness, Curtis Dixon did work.
He pretty much does something like that every game here, and just seems to continue to add new things to his weaponry. That is a new one from Superman that we have not seen before, and it has Calgary back to within 5. We'll see if they can put together a run here in the fourth quarter and make something of this. Schattler tries a shot. Nick Rose calmly makes the save and waits for his defense to pick up the ball in the crease. They do so, and here's Rogers in transition with 8:14 to go here. Rogers now over the restraining line, gets attention from Mike Carnegie, swings it up high back to the point area. This is LeBlanc. LeBlanc now to McCardle. McCardle looking for LeBlanc back, and we'll have a penalty to the Roughnecks here as LeBlanc was hacked, I believe, by, I think it's Garrett McIntosh.
Yeah, it's going to be
box.
a holding call. I think McIntosh got a stick over the shoulder of Garrett McIntosh, or of Stephen LeBlanc, rather. And, yeah, a holding call for Garrett McIntosh. He'll sit for 2 or less as the Rock look to kill some momentum here and ensure that no comeback enters the minds of the Calgary Roughnecks.
Rock power play tonight, 2 for 3. Really, the only time they were ineffective was when they had a long one, a 5-minute one that they couldn't cash in on. Other than that, it's been pretty good. And they swing it around the outside. LeBlanc has it now. LeBlanc to Schreiber. Now they go to the other side. Schreiber playing the up high position. Back to LeBlanc. LeBlanc now looks towards the net. Instead, he'll come back to Schreiber. Now LeBlanc again. Now they start the movement around, and as they do, an illegal pick called, and should be Calgary possession, but actually I think we're going to have a penalty.
Yeah. Well, I think it's
to the Rock. Yep.
2 minutes for holding.
Turner Evans going to the sin bin, so that'll erase the power play. We'll have 4-on-4 lacrosse for 1:38, and then a very short Calgary power play.
And no surprise, Del Bianco to the box here for the extra attacker.
7.5 minutes to go here. It's pretty much do or die time when it comes to Calgary Roughnecks. They need to start putting the ball in the net. Dixon now with it. He's got 3 tonight. His pass nearly gets interrupted. Gets to Dobie eventually. Now to Dixon again. Dixon behind his back to Digby. Digby up high to Dixon again. Dixon now to Schattler. Schattler to Digby. He goes high and over the net. And now here come the Rock. Oh, and Del Bianco comes back and just gets in the net in time. Brett Hickey thought he had it. And Del Bianco showing those wheels to sprint back into his net and make an amazing save.
Yeah, nice stop there from the youngster who's getting, got to be building a little bit of confidence here in this fourth quarter after his first run this season didn't turn out so well for him.
McCardle turns it over. And no fresh 30, though, for the Rock, so they're going to have to put something on net. It's high and wide over net, and that'll give the Roughnecks the ball back here with 6:30 to go here, 6:37 to go to be exact. And we are still 4-on-4 here, which maybe favors the Roughnecks in terms of coming back here. If they can get one here before that expires. And again, they'll go 5-on-4 with Del Bianco on the bench. Schattler now, up high to Dixon. Dixon with room, scores! Curtis Dixon, 4th of the night. He's got 4 of the 6 Roughneck goals, and Calgary now down by 4.
You're going to need Curtis Dixon a lot more between now and the end of the game, and he turns around, heads right back out onto the floor. The Roughnecks have been very successful in the face-off dot. So far, they were 13 of 16 in the first 3 quarters, and Burton and Snyder have done yeoman work there, so you got to think they're going to be looking for extra possessions. If you want to think about a comeback with 6 minutes to go, down 4, you're going to need a lot of work from a lot of players, as the Roughnecks now have their 6th goal, tying that franchise record we talked about at the beginning of the quarter. They'll be looking to avoid that here and continue the comeback possibility.
Yeah, face-off's about the only battle that the Roughnecks have won, and they've won that quite handily. Graham Perro, who has put forth the statistical evidence that face-offs ultimately don't really matter when it comes to what team wins, can pretty much package this game up as proof of that. Here's McCardle shooting, Del Bianco the save. McCardle makes the save, or gets the loose ball rather, to LeBlanc, and those extra possessions are not going to help the Roughnecks here, as they need the ball as much as possible, down by 4 here. A 4-goal deficit is really, you can overcome that. It's just the way the Roughnecks have been playing offensively, it just doesn't give you much hope. But if Curtis Dixon can get going here even more here in the final quarter, that might help. Now here's Schreiber to the net, puts it off the crossbar. Oh my goodness, as he just found a complete open lane and path, and then found Iyer. Now here's Dixon, one-on-one, scores! Curtis Dixon, 5th of the night, as he is having himself a game.
Boy, you know, sometimes Curtis Dixon decides that it's going to happen, and that's the 4th quarter. I talked to him, Coach Miloski, about Curtis Dixon earlier this season. He said, I wish the game just had 4 4th quarters, because when Curtis Dixon plays his best, it's when it's late in the game, and all of a sudden this game is back within reach, as it's 10-7 with 5.5 to go, and the Roughnecks look to pick up another face-off win.
And now the crowd's into things as well. Now here's Cree. Cree has a path to that. Cree, a breakaway, shoots, and Del Bianco makes the save. And give him credit. He's come into that net and kept things, well, not from getting further away from the Roughnecks, and now they're down by 3. And you're right, all of a sudden with 5 minutes to go, this one is not over. Here's Catoni putting a shot on net, and Rose makes the save. No jitters from that veteran goaltender, as he just calmly looks it into his shin pad, and they will go to the bench for the final timeout. 10-7 the score, under 5 to go. You're watching the National Lacrosse League on NLLTV.com.
And now, Mia, I send it over to you for your Unstrung Hero of the Week, a player that may have not chipped in on the score sheet, but contributed to his team's successes in other ways. So, who have you got?
Well, he did have 1 goal in the night on the score sheet, but he contributed in so many other aspects. So I have to give my Unstrung Hero this week to Dan Coates of the Colorado Mammoth. The Mammoth came up so big in this game, as we mentioned earlier, playing their first real complete 60-minute game and dethroning the Georgia Swarm, who haven't lost a game yet. And as I mentioned earlier, the Colorado Mammoth really led when it came to possession, and a lot of that had to do with Dan Coates' performance. Just take a look at the numbers here. He won 13 out of 20 faceoffs. That means that he won 65% of the faceoffs, really giving Colorado the ball from the get-go. They were in possession for the majority of the game, coming up against a team that hadn't dropped a game yet this season. And again, of course, he had that 1 goal in the night too, so that is why I have to give my Unstrung Hero this week to Dan Coates.
.10-7, the Toronto Rock leading the Calgary Roughnecks, under 5 minutes to go here on the game clock. This one looked to be all but done until Curtis Dixon decided to just put his team on his back, has a natural hat trick here, and his team back to within 3. But the Rock looking for what would be the nail in the coffin. There's a shot wide of the net and right into the hands of Curtis Mann, and he plays it ahead. Here's Bell in transition. Bell has room. Bell passes off. Doby takes a shot, puts it high and wide over the net. Bell recovers the loose ball. and passes off to Manning. And now here's Jeff Shatler. Shatler now plays it up high to Lowen, back to Shatler. Now Shatler to Dixon. It's been all Curtis Dixon tonight. There's a shot deflected. Rebound to Berg, and Rose makes the save as he sticks out the glove and gets his hand on that one.
Yeah, again, just no panic from Nick Rose. He just stands there and makes the stop as if he knows where the shooter's going to be at every opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely composed in that Rock net is the veteran netminder. Now here's Evans. Evans a bit of a swim move on Dan McRae. McCardle fell down briefly. And so now Evans will fake the shot. Now he'll take the shot well wide of the net. And that'll be a 30-second violation against the Rock, who clearly at this point making sure they kill that 30 every time down the floor. And Calgary now down by 3, looking to close the gap and maybe put some pressure on the Rock here. Here's Dane Doby to Dixon. Dixon now has Berg. Berg down low. Looking for Doby, who chopped it towards the net. And then behind the net, battle for it. And it'll be the Rock taking over from there with now 3:18 to go. Here's Gamble. Gamble has to pass the net. Breakaway. Gamble in. Takes the shot. Del Bianco makes another big save.
Yeah, fortunately for Jesse Gamble here, Toronto picks up the rebound there and is going to be able to kill more clock. If the Roughnecks pick up the rebound, it's probably an ill-advised shot choice.
Now Merrill with it. Merrill hanging out there on this offensive set for obviously just for defensive purposes and to swallow up all the loose balls, as he is a black hole of loose balls. And Calgary takes over now. Stepping over center is Curtis Dixon. Dixon now over the restraining line. Dixon now to Berg. Berg now to Doby. Now here's Berg again. Looking for Lowen. Eventually it comes over to the far side, and another save by Nick Rose. And there's Brody Merrill again. Merrill try his luck at the empty net. Oh, he almost scored. Rebound is there, put high and over the net. Bodies fly everywhere, including Christian Del Bianco. I'm surprised the Rock chose to go for the empty net there. And that's not usually the decision you see there when a team is up like that late in the game. You want to make the time work for you, not give the ball back for the Roughnecks. So we'll see if Calgary can take advantage. Here's Dixon. Dixon shoots, Rose a save. Rebound is there. Fight for it in the crease area or in the slot area. And eventually we're going to get the call, and I think Calgary's getting possession.
Yeah, Calgary is going to get the ball here, and Curtis Dixon's complaining, saying that they threw the ball out to center, and that should have been a delay of game call. I think Dixon's got a case here.
6-on-5, Del Bianco on the bench. Here's Doby shooting. Rose another save. Rebound to Dixon as we're now under 2 minutes to go here. Dixon now up high. Here's Berg. Berg to Doby. Back to Berg. Berg pass, maybe rebound is there, put wide of the net. And now they try and create the turnover, and in doing so, it will be a timeout from the Rock, I believe.
Yeah, the Rock wisely calling timeout here as they have possession down low. But interesting there not to see it. We've seen delay of game calls the last 2 games here in Calgary from Roughnecks players, and Dane Doby still talking to the official about it. When the Rock player was on the ball, the whistle was blown, and the Rock player got up and threw the ball towards center. Very surprised to not see a call there, quite frankly. But with 1:37 to go, the Roughnecks still in it, the crowd's still in it, and they got 8,000 fans here. If the Roughnecks can get one quickly, we've seen this kind of comeback from this team before. And last year it was Wes Berg with an overtime winner to defeat the Rock here at the Dome. We'll see what the Rock are going to do here. Obviously the Roughnecks going with the net empty with 1:31 to play. And we'll see if the Rock can put the nail in the coffin of this game.
Tom Schreiber will take possession. Schreiber immediately double teamed, and he just runs through it, being chased by Curtis Dixon, and they do turn it over, or they looks like they do. Ball is still loose. Shatler eventually recovers it, and now under 90 seconds to go. Calgary again working the 6-on-5. Shot off the bar as Katoni goes post. Calgary gets the loose ball, and we get a whistle And I think they want to take a look at that one is what they're doing.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that one came off the post, but the referee wanting to make sure that it didn't go in the corner and come out quite quickly.
It certainly jarred the post. It came in with a lot of speed on it. We should note, Ryan, we were talking earlier about that all-time record for fewest goals scored. That was 6, so they won't set that new mark. That is not a mark that anyone wants to set.
No, Curtis Dixon gets the 7th goal. Well, the 5th, the 6th, and the 7th. Yeah, that doesn't look like that goes in. That's very quickly there. If you want to see one of Curtis's incredible goals, you can head over to the NLL Twitter feed and see that with that goal from Dixon behind the back, one-hander scoop. Or search hashtag tickle trunk, which is on that tweet. That'll bring that up. Of course, the NLL Twitter feed full of great goals. Make sure you check them out. And you can see that incredible goal from Curtis Dixon.
All right, so 6-on-5 here for the Roughnecks still as they have the goalie pulled. Here's Dixon looking to shoot and then drop the ball, chop towards the corner, and the Rock take over there. And they've got an empty net staring at them. We'll see if they go for it, if they just kill clock. Dixon's going to play a little bit of goaltending here. And Hostrouser gladly takes the easy one there. And that will do it, as you can make it 11-7.
Yeah, Curtis Dixon does it all on the offensive side of the floor. No shame there that he's not able to make the save as he dropped back into the goaltending position. But nevertheless, 11-7 as the Rock put the salt on this one and kill it because the Roughnecks attempting a comeback here, but it was too far to climb up and having to push that hard for that long, unable to get there.
I mean, to be perfectly honest, you had one player going offensively for the entire game. That was Curtis Dixon.
Yes.
Outside of Dixon, just no one was in sync for the Calgary Roughnecks, and they really got nothing out of that left side, and that makes things very hard. And that man right there, Nick Rose, throws the ball down the floor. Why not add a goal too? Oh, it just skips wide of the post. And the Rock player chasing it there. That would have been the cherry on the icing on top of the cake, but
yeah, Nick Rose obviously figures you might as well go for it.
It's been that kind of night for him.
Empty, so you might as well take your best chance at it. And not sure what the delay is here.
They're calling it a penalty to the Roughnecks. And now we got a discussion with some heat to it over near the Roughneck bench. That's Dane Doby, who's also making dinner plans with Nick Rose.
Yes, well, you know, you've got
ex-teammates.
Yeah, well, obviously and Curtis Dixon getting the call here. Not sure.
And I think it was too many men, so that'll be a penalty shot.
Well, it would be if it was too many men. It wouldn't be Curtis Dixon because he's not our in-home player.
No, you're right. Pardon me.
But there is a lot of chatter going on between these two teams. And you can expect that some of that is dinner plans. Gamble's trying to say, hey, let's restart. Why are we waiting?
Well, I mean, exactly. And this point in the game, any sort of brouhaha doesn't help either team.
No, and extra and majors taken in the last 2 minutes of a game count double, and so you start to look at suspensions. That's part of why Greg Harnett's suspension is so long, is because of accumulated majors, and so as a result, that's why Greg Harnett's got to sit for a total of 5 games.
Christian Del Bianco coming out to look like he was going to throw a check briefly, but the Rock are just going to throw this around. There's about a 10-second differential between the game clock and the shot clock. They're just going to wind the shot clock down to nothing and throw the ball into the corner. And Calgary will have 10 seconds to work with here and suffer their second straight loss here at the Rough House as they will fall to 1-3 on home floor, which is a real puzzler for this team, and fall to 3-3 overall. But the Toronto Rock come in and play a picture-perfect road game led by Nick Rose in net and led offensively again by one of the new faces of this league, Tom Schreiber. An impressive evening for him. And as a result, the Toronto Rock take the win.
Yeah, all in all, a very impressive game, as you mentioned, for the Toronto Rock here as they come in and essentially dominated the Calgary Roughnecks. for 3 quarters, and you can talk about Curtis Dixon putting up a hat trick in the 4th quarter, but at the end of the day, it was too little too late for the Calgary Roughnecks as Nick Rose absolutely shut them down through the first 45 minutes of this game, and was walking away with a well-deserved victory here.
Yeah, the 3 stars pretty easy to predict in this one, selected by Paul Malowski. Toronto Rock, Tom Schreiber, the 3rd star. Calgary Roughnecks, Curtis Dixon, the 2nd star. And Nick Rose, the 1st star of the evening. We'll run through some of the offensive totals for you. When it comes to the offensive leaders for the Calgary Roughnecks, there was really only one, and that was Curtis Dixon. 5 goals, including that natural hat trick in the 4th quarter to lead the way. Westberg 1-1, as was Dane Doby. Jeff Shatler had 5 helpers, but a rough evening overall when it comes to the Calgary Roughnecks offense. Frankie Chiliano will take the loss. He was relieved for the last 15 minutes by the youngster Christian Del Bianco. When it came to the Toronto Rock, good bounce scoring for them, but Tom Schreiber continues to build on his resume. 3 and 3 to lead the way, but also good evenings from Kieran McCardle, 2 and 1, 2 gorgeous goals, by the way, and Brett Hickey, 2 goals, 1 and 2 for Turner Evans, and 1 and 3 for Stephen LeBlanc. Latrell Harris with a 1 and 1 evening, and Bill Hostrauser into the empty net picks up a goal himself, and that's how you get to an 11-7 win for the Toronto Rock. A couple of reminders, the Calgary Roughnecks back at the Dome again next week, and as the Stealth are back in town, it's a 7 p.m. start Saturday, February 18th. Tickets at calgaryroughnecks.com. And the Toronto Rock return home next weekend as the Georgia Swarm will hit town. That game is 7:30 p.m. Friday, February 17th, and it is Nick Rose bobblehead night, and that is well deserved after the evening he had here this evening. Your tickets at torontorock.com. We do want to welcome Sports Interaction as an official partner for Canada for the 2017 season. Sports Interaction is Canada's home for worldwide sports betting. Bet responsibly at sportsinteraction.com. That wraps things up here in Calgary for us here, but there's still action across the league here this evening as the week is not yet done. Of course, you can catch all your games on NLLtv.com. You want to get your NLL pass where you get all the games and including your favorite team. Also, all the exclusive content, highlights, interviews, and more. And the game that'll wrap up the week starts at 8 o'clock Pacific time, or pardon me, Mountain time, 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific. That'll be the Mammoth in Vancouver to face the Stealth, as that will wrap up week 7 in the National Lacrosse League. And a final reminder that this copyrighted telecast of the National Lacrosse League Incorporated may not be retransmitted, reproduced, or rebroadcast without the express written consent of the National Lacrosse League. Ryan, final thoughts?
Well, really, at the end of the day, but for Curtis Dixon, as you mentioned, nothing doing offensively for the Calgary Roughnecks today, not just because of the lack of production from Dane Doby and Jeff Shatler, but credit that defense from the Toronto Rock as they improve Nick Rose's best goals against average, and I mean, what a performance from Rose here today. Just dominant here at the Rough House, his one-time home, and I mean, Nick Rose put it all together, well-deserved as the first star.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that covers it. A good night for Curtis Dixon, a bad night for the Calgary Roughnecks offense. Impressive night for those new Rock faces. Really impressed by some of what we saw to them tonight. But yeah, the story of the game has to be Nick Rose, who really came and put one on his ex-team here tonight. And as a result, the Rock take the win 11-7. For Ryan Ballantyne, my name is Grant Farhall. Thanks for watching the National Lacrosse League on NLLtv.com.